Captains C.J. Spiller and Mark Ingram. Clemson team captains Eric McLean, Sharon Peak, Stanton Seckinger, Travis Blanks, B.J. Goodson, and D.J. Reader. Alabama team captains Jake Coker, Derrick Henry, Ryan Kelly, and Reggie Ragland. And inductees of the 2016 National Football Foundation College Football Hall of Fame.
Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome to the College Football Playoff Championship game. Congratulations on tremendous seasons by both teams. The coin we'll use tonight for the toss has the College Football Playoff logo on the head side. And on the tails side is the University of Phoenix Stadium logo. Alabama, you're the visitors. What will your call be tonight?
Heads.
Heads is called. And it is tails. Clemson, you've won the toss. Toss and deferred. You'll receive. Which direction would you like to kick? Turn your backs around that way. Bring your backs this way. To begin the game, Clemson is
So Clemson is a higher seed wearing the all-orange home uniforms, but Alabama will get the football first to begin this championship game. And with Nick Saban, down to Tom Rinaldi.
Chris, thank you very much. Nick, you've coached in this game 4 times. You've never lost. How do you use that experience to help this team win tonight?
I don't think this team knows anything more about it. I mean, it's what we talked about before. Everybody's go out there and dominate their box, play with their best effort, be their best football player today. That's what everybody has to do. You got to do it for 60 minutes and have fun doing it. There's no anxiety here. Let's just go play.
Good luck tonight, Nick. Let's go across to Heather with Dabo Sweeney.
Tom, thank you so much. Coach, we're seconds away from kick. What do you feel is the most critical element early to set the tone in this game?
Well, I think, first of all, we got to establish ourselves in the trenches on both sides. I think got to get in a rhythm, kind of get a feel for how they want to play. Probably the same for them. And just kind of, get into the flow of the game. A lot of emotion, channel that emotion the right way, and just be who we are.
Coach, 2 of your top defenders came into warm-ups as question marks. You've said that Shaq Lawson will start. What is the status of Mackenzie Alexander?
I expect both of them to play and play well.
Good news, you're full strength. Coach, thanks. Chris?
Heather, thank you. Grew up in Pelham, Alabama. Was a special teamer on Alabama's championship team that stunned Miami in the Superdome. Kirk, let's take a look at each team's plan for success presented by Northwestern Mutual.
Chris will start with Alabama. First thing they've got to do is go back to running the football with Derrick Henry. Remember last week it was a lot of pass to Ridley. Tonight it's more of Derrick Henry. They got to prevent the big play. Make Clemson's offense drive the ball. For Clemson, simple. Number 4's got to be the X factor. Deshaun Watson running and throwing. And then a big key in this game, when you look at Alabama, when they've struggled, it's been on 3rd down on both sides of the football.
So a walk-on. Freshman Greg Hugel from Blythewood, South Carolina will kick it off for the Tigers. Tide have Kenyan Drake and Richard Mullaney. 2 key receivers deep. The national title in year 2 of the playoff. Fought for tonight in the desert. Hugel drives the kick into the end zone. Drake brings it out. And is knocked down. Good coverage by the Tigers. And that means Jake Coker, his one and only chance to shine, will get the football first. You know his story, beaten out by Jameis Winston at Florida State. Grew up in Mobile and had the game of his life in the biggest game of his life. 25 of 30, almost 300 yards against Michigan State.
And this is a confident Clemson defense, the way they played this year. Look for Alabama to try to shock Clemson. Wouldn't be surprised to see him take a shot early here in this football game. Maybe try to do some things a little bit unorthodox and different from what they've done coming into this game.
It's the Capital One quarterback profile. I think you said it's going to be tougher for him tonight than it was against the Spartans defense for lots of reasons. A first down throw. They flip it near side. This is Calvin Ridley, the top receiver, but he's knocked down immediately by Mackenzie Alexander, who is starting along with Lawson.
Yeah, so much for Mackenzie Alexander, maybe not playing in his football game. First play of the game, out in space. Big thing that Clemson's done well all year in the secondary. And here's some tempo from Alabama.
No gain in that play, and here comes the Heisman Trophy winner as a flag comes down. Ben Boulware shoots through and drops him for a 5-yard loss.
Yeah, I don't know if Alabama was set there. They're trying to go tempo. Remember I talked about doing some things a little different to catch Clemson off guard? Oh, they actually catch Clemson. So the tempo does work.
Tide will use tempo in spots, but not typically this early in the game.
Offside. Number 90 of the defense lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Terry Lydon and the Pac-12 crew working this game.
And here he is at the bottom. Shaq Lawson. We wondered how would he hold up. He's obviously in the neutral zone there. Good call.
That's not even close, Shaq.
No. Alabama feels by going tempo. You know, Clemson's known for tempo. Bama can go tempo. Makes it tougher for Clemson to get the calls into the defense. You'll see all 11 guys, look at them, looking over to get the call from Brent Venables. And if you hurry up your offense, it makes it tougher to get that call in.
Penalty negates a 5-yard loss. So 2nd and 5. This is Henry picking his way up the middle. Knocked down at the 29, about a yard short of the marker.
A lot of energy, a lot of emotion right now in this football game. And 3rd down has been a problem for Bama most of the year. You say 3rd and 5 plus 103rd in the country. Here's 3rd and short.
Again, they go tempo. Henry powers for a 1st down. It's a Clemson defense, Kirk, that's been very sturdy late in games, clutch, but often they seem to get off to a little bit of a slow start. It happened in Miami against the Sooners.
It sure did. You go back to a game you and I called when they played Florida State. Remember Dalvin Cook found a crease in that initial surge.
Second play of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's part of feeling the offense out. You've been prepping. Now you got to see what they're doing.
Coker pump fakes and now just fires into the ground. The receiver fell down over there. It was Ridley in a collision, and Dick just decided to spike the ball.
Well, not only that, Chris, there was a misunderstanding. Ridley was running a different route, and then he eventually went down, but he's turning to the sideline. I don't know what the misunderstanding was, but the young freshman who had such a big game against Michigan State not running the route that his quarterback was expecting.
Lawson out of the game for this snap. You almost expect some jitters, don't you, in a championship game, especially from younger players. Darius Stewart comes in motion. Henry, not much room. Penetration early by DJ Reader, blew it up.
Yeah, that's a good job up front. It's a different battle today for this Alabama offensive line. They try to double team, but boy, Clemson holding the spot there by DJ Reader. You see Austin Bryant, who's in there for Shaq Lawson, coming in, and this is what Brent Venables wanted. He is as good as you'll see in the country at 3rd down. They're 2nd in the country this year at getting after the quarterback and disguising.
Coker needs 9. Tigers rush 4, flipped complete. Ridley's got some work to do. Does make a man miss. Dives right near the marker. It's going to be close at the 44.
Well, great job by Mulaney up at the top of doing a good job on the block. He'll be right up here. You'll see. Watch how he sustains his block, and it allows Ridley to pick up those yards.
He does get the 1st down. So makes up for that mental mistake. Lawson back in the game. We'll track his snaps as Stewart takes the toss again. Not much running room. He does well to get 3 yards.
He is such a long strider. He is more effective as he builds up his momentum. The big thing that people talk about every single time you get around people trying to defend Alabama, Derrick Henry, they talk about we need penetration. We've got to get to him before he builds up his momentum, and that's what they've done here so far early in this game.
First 7 plays against Michigan State, didn't touch it once. Already 4 carries in their first 7 plays. Pop pass. Stewart with Henry as a lead blocker. Excuse me, that's Kenyan Drake driven out, and that's the Heisman Trophy winner getting to the edge to help his teammate.
And Shaq Lawson, because of that knee, he's offsides again. If you go back and look at that play, he's lined up in the neutral zone again. Remember, he's playing with that MCL injury Doc Punch talked about earlier. He's in a different stance, and I think it's really affecting him as far as his vision and his alignment. That's the 2nd time. He got away with it that time, but he was in the neutral zone again.
This time they need 6 on 3rd down. Tide pick up the pressure. Coker Finally now flush, just circling, fires it incomplete. Richard Mullaney was in the vicinity. Excellent coverage by the Tigers secondary. 4th down.
It's interesting that they dropped their best pass rusher that time in coverage, 90, Shaq Lawson, but he had nowhere to go with the ball. This is a matchup that we wanted to see. Calvin Ridley against Mackenzie Alexander. That time they were able to affect the rhythm there of the quarterback and his receivers. Great coverage downfield by the Tigers.
Tide move at 27 yards, and now the fine punter J.K. Scott tries to pin Clemson deep. Artavis Scott backpedals and takes a fair catch at the 9. So the Tigers defense does its job, and now Deshaun Watson, 3rd in the Heisman Trophy voting, takes over for Clemson's first possession. Our Capital One profile quarterback Deshaun Watson, who a year ago was dealing with an ACL injury, played hurt against South Carolina, missed the bowl game. Began his sophomore season playing somewhat cautiously, but got more confident, and then he got faster as the season went on, and he broke the ACC total offense record with 4,731, and he was brilliant, first as a runner, later as a thrower against Oklahoma.
Tonight he'll have to be both. It'll have to be his arm and also his legs. His legs will have to be a big factor against his Alabama defensive front.
Scott in motion. They give it to him, and the top receiver for Clemson hurdles and gains about 4.
You'll see Clemson go tempo. Their goal is to wear down the defensive line with outside runs and tempo.
They pitch it to Wayne Gallman, the top running back, who gets to the edge. Former linebacker in high school, he runs with great determination and toughness.
Yeah, and that's just following a couple blocks by your receiver, peak, and leg it to tight end. Here they go again. Tempo, tempo. Wear down Alabama.
Watson now for his first downfield pass attempt. Scott well covered and shoved out of bounds, incomplete. It was Marlon Humphrey, redshirt freshman, guarding him.
Long throw, and actually late there by Watson. He's on the left hash, and he's going to his favorite target, Scott. But typically you're going to see Watson anticipate and throw the ball early. That time he was maybe early in the game just being sure, and by being sure the ball was late.
Incompletion allows Bama to substitute some of the big guys up front. Now they hand it to Gallman, and he is hit immediately. No gain. So tough to run on this Tide defense. Jonathan Allen stopped him.
Yeah, Jonathan Allen comes from the backside over here. You'll see him chase, but you also see the safety that time, Matthias Smith, get involved as well.
Now the trouble with tempo when it's 3rd and 10.
We just talked about Clemson confusing the quarterback and coming after the quarterback. They got to be careful here of Watson on the scramble.
Tide show pressure, but only rush 4. Watson flushed, has room, now fires behind Jordan Leggett. The tight end comes back to make a catch for a first down.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. He's got to create 3rd down. You know he's not just going to scramble to run, Chris. He is scrambling to buy time. Leggett works to get open, and a great job with vision downfield by Watson.
What a catch by Leggett. Throw was not very accurate. And now a short gain for Gallman. Ryan Anderson stopped him.
Anderson zone read there. See Watson reading the in man on the line of scrimmage, and it was 22 Anderson. He collapsed down in a hurry. Surprised Deshaun didn't pull that and run around the corner. Clemson will come back to that play.
Gallman in the slot, empty, and now he'll motion back into the left of Watson, who looks that way and flips it to him, incomplete. Began to put his eyes upfield before he caught the ball.
Clemson's run 7 plays, 3 runs, 4 passes, and the one thing almost every play has in common is get the ball outside, get the ball to the perimeter. Again, that's a big part of how they want to attack, not just to get their skill out in space, but to try to make that defensive front chase them down.
3rd down again, they need 8. Tied with some fresh bodies to rush the passer. Watson in the pocket, throws over the head of freshman Ray McLeod. Cyrus Jones, who had a huge cotton ball on the coverage. It's 4th down.
Yeah, not a great route there by the true freshman McLeod. He just kind of ran out there, made it very easy for Jones to stay on him. And Deshaun Watson, I think more than anything, just threw that ball away.
Bama Able to get off the field there. And now Andy Teasdall, who's faked a punt each of the last 2 games. You wouldn't expect it here. And Cyrus Jones, a dangerous returner who's brought 4 back for touchdowns. Rushes up to take it inside the 30. Gets a block. And dances to the far sideline. Is knocked down across the 40 by T.J. Green. So much better field position for Jake Coker and the Heisman Trophy winner in their second possession. Chilly night in the desert. Our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Kick off your drive with tires that return superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. It's Big Top with the indoor lawn. The grass field that they roll out. This is a brand new field assembled for this championship game. Rolled in here a week ago. To the Tide. Second possession from the 41. Henry's got it again. And again, not much room, but a busy start for the Heisman winner.
Really good eye discipline by this Clemson defense. You know, they are zeroed in on number 2, Derrick Henry. Lane Kiffin trying to use Kenyan Drake that time as a decoy. Anytime you see the running back Drake lined up as a receiver going in motion, it can easily affect your eyes, but that time they were zeroed in on Henry.
They feed him again on second and 8, running right, cutting back, and muscling near midfield. It'll be 3rd and short. Henry is rested and refreshed, and I think he's eager to get back to his starring role.
Without a doubt. Look down here again. Shaq Lawson, 3rd time he's lined up in a neutral zone.
On 3rd and 1, Henry again makes a cut and off and running. The Heisman winner in the open field, headed for the end zone. No decoy tonight, Kirk.
No. Just a great job of blocking on the right side of the offensive line. Dominique Jackson, Taylor, the right guard, the tight end, O.J. Howard. Boy, they opened that up.
A 20th straight game in which Henry has rushed for a touchdown, extending his SEC record 26 now this season. Adam Griffith with the point, and the Tide strike quickly.
Right side of the offensive line. Watched him open that hole up in the short yardage situation. You can see the speed. You allow him to run downhill. It's very tough to catch up to him. But give the offensive line, Jackson, Taylor, Howard, open that up. Clemson selling out in that short yardage situation, and it opens it up for Alabama. And Nick Saban got exactly what he needed from his team, a start in a 7-0 lead.
So Derrick Henry, all 59 yards in that touchdown drive. He already has 71 tonight. That's just 4 short of what he had all game against Michigan State.
Remember the first game of the year that you and I had some short yardage situations against Wisconsin where they sold out to stop the short yardage, and he busted some big gains.
Scott takes the kickoff and breaks free. Beats the kicker. Finally, Griffith able to help haul down Scott. And it gives Watson terrific field position out of the 47.
Well, that's exactly what Clemson needed. And Scott, after had a scope done in December, is looking like the old Artavis Scott with the speed. He showed some strength there as well, Chris, and being able to pull out of there. The kicker, Griffith, gets in his way. He actually almost missed. Humphrey was there, the corner, to help out as well. But you could see once he broke free how explosive Scott can be.
One of the best returns of the year for the Tigers, who have really struggled on special teams throughout the year. So Watson trying to answer Henry's touchdown, delivers shot to the slot receiver Hunter Renfrow, who spins and works his way to Bama territory in a Big Orange Bowl game.
Well, great set of hands. The walk-on, who's a high school quarterback, does a really good job. Just a gritty interior receiver. This time a quick little sugar huddle, but they'll break the huddle fast and get ready again to try to keep the pressure on Alabama.
Gallman bangs right into that stout front of Alabama's defense. Reuben Foster, the linebacker, combining with Fitzpatrick.
Boy, what a job there by DJ Peckway, 57. Watch him at the top explode into the center there. Pushed him right back into the play. Guillermo was polling around to help out, and he realizes now that strength you're talking about with that Alabama front.
Wow, did he move backwards in a hurry. 3rd and 5 now. Watson in the pocket, flips it into traffic, incomplete. Here comes the flag. It was Foster defending on Jordan Leggett too closely.
Well, he got a hand in there. It was a crossing route underneath, and Foster got involved. They'd love to get the ball there in those situations to
Pass
Leggett.
interference, number 10 of the defense. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
They brought the pressure, but I thought Watson did a nice job of just wait, let the play develop, waits to the last second. Look right there, just grabbing him with the left arm, hooked him, pulled him in, and a good call by the officials.
Ball moves to the 43. And Watson looking to throw on first down. Now takes off. His first run of the night. It's a scramble, but it's a quick 7.
This Alabama defensive line, the best that Nick Saban has had since he's been in Tuscaloosa. Bo Davis is the defensive line coach. They really feed off of his energy. He's got 3 first-round picks on that defensive front.
Dahlman, a late handoff from Watson in a short game before Denzel Duvall stopped him. Not just great players, but also the leaders of this team, aren't they?
They sure are. Watch the ball collapse down. He takes the running back, but look, there's nothing he could have done, because if he pulled it out, Minka Fitzpatrick's there to take the quarterback away. So really well-designed defense there by Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, taking in the zone read, both reads away from the quarterback.
Often they put 3 300-pounders in there, including Jaron Reed, who helped make that stop. On 3rd and 4, Watson still got it. Cuts back, got room. And that's an easy first down for Deshaun Watson. That's the defensive coordinator's nightmare.
Yeah, 3rd down, creating. Whether it's been Ole Miss or Ohio State last year with Cardale Jones, he knows he's got to make plays on 3rd down. Alabama knows it's coming. Great job of having that 6th sense of realizing he had room to run on the left side.
Watson rolling out. Takes a downfield shot. Renfro the end zone. Touchdown Tigers as they answer the Tide score. For that gritty ex-walk-on. Another look.
What an amazing effort here by Renfro. The big catch last week against the Sooners. And again, folks, he's a walk-on. He played quarterback last year in an option attack. He's walked on to this program. He's gotten better and better. And the biggest games of the year, here's Pylon Cam. An outstanding catch, but even a better effort to get open.
Greg Hugel with the PAT. Renfro just wanted to prove he could play football at this level. I think he's proven it.
Absolutely, Chris. The wheel route. I was watching him. Watch him work and fight through to get open on the wheel route. Minka Fitzpatrick's doing a pretty good job there. He doesn't give up. He used his body to get a little bit of separation. And how about the throw by Deshaun Watson right on the money to tie this game up?
Only the second first-quarter touchdown the Tide have allowed. Two marquee offensive stars in this game shining early as Deshaun Watson and the Tigers answer Derrick Henry's touchdown. Hunter Renfro, a walk-on here, as you said, a baseball player in high school mostly. That was his first sport. His dad was a coach, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And maybe Dabo Swinney sees something of himself. Dabo was a walk-on receiver at Bama. Maybe he'd say Hunter has a little bit more talent.
Yeah.
But both offensive coordinators here for Dabo, also ex-walk-ons at Clemson. Drake with a crease, makes a cut. Kenyan Drake just dropped at the 40 by the kicker, Greg Hugel.
Quick, go back to this touchdown. It's a wheel route here, and you see right here he's trying to create a cross, and by crossing they're trying to create the pick to affect Minka Fitzpatrick, which didn't work. but the route running and not giving up on the route, and then the throw by Deshaun Watson, the Tigers get their touchdown. That's a big touchdown for Dabo Swinney's team to get themselves to believe that they can play with this Alabama team and pull off this upset and win this game.
Heck of an answer against a defense that just really hasn't given up much of anything in the first quarter. Coker has to hustle out there as the Tide back to work after Drake's nice return from the 39. Henry again makes a cut, just dragged down as he's beginning to build momentum, Kirk, but it's 7 more yards. He's the AT&T strongest of the strong.
That was a good job up front by that offensive line. Opening up for Derrick Henry. You can see 20 straight games with a touchdown. He's had a storybook year for this Alabama offense.
First 2,000-yard rusher in SEC history hit that mark against Michigan State. On 2nd and 3, got it again. That time couldn't get moving downhill and has dropped for a short loss. It'll be 3rd down.
DJ Reader that time. This is the key tonight if Clemson's going to slow him down. DJ Reader right here. Watch the hands and the quickness of being able to get off the block and be involved there. Not only getting off the block, but collapsing that play, not giving it much of a chance. And now it's back to that 3rd down for this Alabama offense.
They need about 3.5. Coker pressured, flips it far side, and O.J. Howard, the tight end, is wide open and rumbling free down inside the 30. Lane Kiffin with a good call against the pressure, Kirk.
A great call on 3rd down. They brought B.J. Goodson on the blitz. You see him right here. Howard's hiding. Nobody picks him up coming out of the backfield, and it opened it up for an easy throw for Coker.
The Tide do this after a big pass play. They play with tempo. Coker wanted to get it to the edge, and now dropped for a loss by Shaq Lawson, who looked pretty good that time.
He sure did. Nice to see Shaq Lawson be able to have such an impact. 11.5 sacks now on the year. Look at him. I tell you, Jake Coker's a pretty good athlete for his size. He does a good job. We wondered how would he be able to move laterally with that MCL injury. That time he stays in position, and then the speed and quickness still that he has to be able to get to Coker.
2 of the best pass rush teams in the country. A 44th sack for the Tigers, who sacked Baker Mayfield 5 times in the semifinal. Now some confusion. The Tide trying to get lined up, and with the play clock winding down,
Alabama is taking their first
time
out of the half. 30 seconds in duration.
It's been a good year for Clemson, ranked #1 of the college football rankings every week by the committee. They'd never actually been ranked #1 in a season before. The Tide, of course, knocked off LSU and jumped to #2, and they've been 1-2 since November the 10th.
And they have definitely been the 2 teams that a lot of people were excited to see to have a chance. This Tigers team, despite being ranked #1, they've been able to maintain a chip on their shoulder. It's kind of been driving them. Nobody believing us, people doubting us, and it has them here tonight playing for all the marbles, playing for the national championship.
About a touchdown underdog tonight. Coker looking to the sidelines on 2nd and 16. And takes a shot downfield. It's for Ridley, but it's way over his head for Drake Tankersley in coverage.
Chris, if you remember, early in the year, Drake Tankersley was tested. Teams went after him. They were somewhat intimidated by Alexander on the other side, and teams had some success early in the year. But boy, if there's a player that's improved the most on this defense, it's probably Tankersley. Big, strong, 6'1", about 195 pounds, and they leave him on an island quite a bit.
Came over to deny a touchdown against Oklahoma with a pass broken up in the end zone. So on 3rd and 16, they hand it to Henry, who breaks a tackle and muscles down to the 27. Austin Bryant tackled him. That run designed to set up a makeable field goal, and it does so.
Yeah. 3rd and long has not been a strength. We've talked about quite a bit about that tonight for Alabama, and just trying to give Griffith a better chance at this field goal.
And he's hit 6 in a row from beyond 40. Told me he corrected some mechanics after missing his first 4 attempts this season. Finished up 22 for 30. Terrific story. Born in Poland, lived in an orphanage, adopted by parents in Georgia. Given a scholarship by Nick Saban, but this one starts right, stays right. Missed it from 44, and the Tide come up empty. As Sweeney's defense with that sack from Shaq Lawson, huge in that series.
Yeah, Chris, you talked about it early in the year. The hold is great. He just, and actually, if you look at the kick, the ball looks like it's hit pretty well, but he just pushes it off to the right there, and Dabo Sweeney says that's a win. That's a win for us. You get Deshaun Watson back out of the field. So you have the answer to get it to 7-7, and then the defense forces a field goal, and they miss it, and they get the football back.
So the Tigers taking over on their 27, and Watson goes straight back on first down. Now escapes again. Deshaun Watson just glides for 12 yards. This is what Saban feared.
Well, when you play a man-to-man, you've got an athletic quarterback who can run. You better spy him. You better have eyes on number 4. Everybody knew coming in, his ability to create was the biggest thing Alabama had to take away.
Now it's Gallman with a big convoy of bodies in front of him, spinning and fighting for a nice first down gain. Duvall tackled him.
Important to look at Clemson not doing a lot of substituting. And when Clemson's not substituting and they're in hurry up, the rule is that Alabama can't substitute. So that allows you to stay really fast. That time they bring a player in late. Now Alabama can bring a player in late. Peak at the bottom checked into the game, and now you see Reed checking into the game too.
Saban and Kirby Smart intend to take full advantage of that, don't they? Every time Clemson does change a receiver. Play clock at 5. They fake it to Gallman. Watson pump fakes. Now sprints out, fires downfield into traffic. Catch made. Ruled a catch at the 30 by Sharon Peak, the senior.
Chris, I can't tell you how impressive that is, not only by Watson, but by Peak, to give this play a chance. The quick slant's taken away. He realizes his quarterback's going to buy some time. He works to get open, and a perfect throw.
And the strength to keep that foot in bounds when he was hit. And now, strike over the middle. It's Leggett, the tight end, and Watson, the Tigers are rolling.
They split to 2 safeties who are high. 2 safeties that are back deep. The way you try to attack them is right over the linebackers into the middle of the defense. Another great throw by Deshaun Watson, who's in rhythm and has Alabama right now on their heels.
Final minute of a frantic first quarter. Watson, this is a design run into traffic and not much there. Gets about a yard. Ragland and Foster. So now, can they be efficient in the red zone? They beat Oklahoma by 20 despite only getting 13 points, Kirk, in their 4 red zone trips combined. Second and 9. Overthrown over the head of Renfro, and now it's 3rd down.
Well, in this area this year, Renfro has been a great target in the slot, but the big tight end Jordan Leggett, who had a great catch there a play or 2 earlier, those are typically the players he looks for. And don't forget again, the quarterback scramble has been effective on 3rd down.
Figures to be final play of the quarter. You need to get to the 2. From the pocket. A strike and a touchdown again. It's Renfro. Unlikely star so far of this championship game.
Wait till we show you this route by the freshman. He's being defended by another freshman who's one of the more highly touted corners in the country out of New Jersey, and Mika Fitzpatrick. He put a move on him to the outside to set up the move back to the middle, and the ball again. You can see the trust and the rhythm between Watson and his receiver Renfro.
73-yard drive. That was all Deshaun Watson running and throwing. And the second touchdown for Renfro, who continues a monster postseason. Hugel gets it through. PATs have not been automatic for him this year, but so far so good.
See that move, that stem to the outside. Minkah Fitzpatrick bites it, and it opens up that throw. Look at the anticipation. Look how far he works to get that receiver away from the defender. And Renfro, again, doesn't give up on the route, and it's a touchdown.
Terrific first quarter in Glendale. Tigers up 14-7. You're watching the College Football Playoff presented by AT&T. Set for the second quarter here of the College Football Playoff National Championship game presented by AT&T. Alabama defense, Kirk, that allowed total of 19 points in the first quarter all season. Just one of those was a touchdown by Tennessee, giving up 2 touchdowns. Watson to Renfro in the first quarter.
They've not seen this kind of quarterback all year.
Hugel drives a low kick, and Drake lets it bounce through the end zone. Dabo Swinney grew up in Alabama. Walked on at Alabama, was a wide receiver, a special teamer, part of that special group that shocked the Hurricanes, won a title in the '92 season, was an assistant coach, then got out of coaching. You wanted to lease or buy a house, call Dabo in the Birmingham area, did that for a couple of years, took a pay cut to go back to Clemson and work for Tommy Bowden. And when Tommy Bowden was fired midway through the season, Dabo Swinney was the receiver coach. Terry Down Phillips, the athletic director, walked in, pointed at him and said, "You're the head coach. You're in charge. You make the decisions. Close the season strong and earn the head coaching job." And he did just that. What a great choice by Terry Down Phillips. Coker from the pocket has a man wide open, and it's Richard Mullaney. Stutter steps down to the 45-yard line. The graduate transfer from Oregon State, a steadying influence in this receiving corps.
Great job on 1st and 10 with Coker off of play action, reading the flat defender and throwing the ball right over top of him to Mullaney. And he showed a little bit of athletic ability there after the catch as well to pick up more yards.
Now they hand it to Henry, who's met in the backfield and dropped for a loss. Quick penetration by the excellent defensive end, Kevin Dodd.
Kevin Dodd gets in here. We don't talk as much about Dodd. Watch him shoot this gap. That's what you have to do against Derrick Henry. Shoot your gaps, be able to get in there before he builds up that momentum. I think they underestimated, it was either a blown assignment or underestimating the quickness of Kevin Dodd. They say the hardest working guy on that defensive team.
He had a big game against the Sooners when Lawson went out. He's got 20 tackles for loss, overshadowed a bit by number 90, but an excellent player himself. So Henry loses 4 there. Coker steps up in traffic, drop for a loss. It's Dodd again. Second sack for Clemson.
Kevin Dodd having his way. The weakness in pass protection is the right side of the offensive line. You can see he works right by Taylor with quickness. It's 6'5", 275 pounds. He's strong, but he's sudden. And that time he shot the gap again between Taylor and Jackson. Alabama, when they get to these second long and third long situations, made it very tough for Lane Kiffin and Jake Coker to have consistency.
This is what the Tigers defense has done all season. They force a ton of negative plays. Coker's got to hurry on 3rd and 18. Snaps it at 1. Backpedals. Flips it short to Ridley, who's going to be dropped again right there by Mackenzie Alexander, who's winning that little one-on-one battle so far.
Boy, he reacted so quickly to this play. 3rd and long, they bring the blitz here from Tankersley, but zone behind it. So watch Mackenzie Alexander coming in to be able to affect that. You also see Shaq Lawson dropping. Brent Venables continues to mix up the looks on 3rd down, confusing the line and confusing the quarterback, Jake Coker.
So Scott to punt to Scott. And Artavis makes the fair catch, and now that Bama defense right back on the field as Deshaun Watson goes back to work up a touchdown. And they told Deshaun Watson, don't try to do too much tonight. It's a big game, but just be you. And he's being himself.
He sure is. He's been doing this all year. He's making plays. He's creating. He knew that he had to do that on third down, but how about Hunter Renfrow? A couple touchdown receptions, and you can see the confidence that Deshaun Watson is playing with right now coming into this series, which I think is a big series, even though it's early in this game, for this Alabama defense. And right now has been on its heels the last couple possessions.
Tigers have driven for touchdowns, 54 and 73 yards these last two possessions. Now they keep it to Watson up the middle, try to confuse with that motion, and that's a nice first down gain.
Very effective play. The play calling early in the game, where everything was wide. Everything was wide. What's happened with the success of that in the passing game is that now you can go back to running a little bit easier, as you did right there, running the football with Deshaun Watson.
He got 7 on first down. Now rolls, pump fakes, and looks to throw downfield. It's intercepted. Picked off by Eddie Jackson, who baited the quarterback and creates the first takeaway of the night.
Deshaun Watson thought he had Geno Smith isolated one-on-one. He thinks it's just a one-on-one matchup, but Jackson comes over off of his man. See how there is separation? That's what Deshaun Watson saw. He thought the freshman was pulling away, but the veteran that time, Eddie Jackson, comes over for his 6th interception on the year, and that's exactly what Alabama needed to get back into this game.
He's had a terrific season at safety after shifting from corner last season. So Watson's first poor decision.
And Nick Saban would tell you that's why they're better equipped to defend these kind of systems, because they're better in the back end.
So Coker from plus territory. Ridley, it's a reverse to Drake. Quarterback throws a block, another block on the edge, and a stutter step move. Clemson fans want a block in the back. Tankersley eventually forces him out.
I don't know what's more impressive, seeing Coker out there, or the big All-American Cam Robinson with that block that I thought was clean, Chris. And you can say what you want about right there at the top. He hits the safety, T.J. Green. That's what the crowd reacted to.
He's only got about a 140-pound edge on Green, and now Henry breaks free again. Stiff arm, dragging a tackler as flags come in on the tackle by Goodson. They're going to tack this on.
Yeah, definitely got a hold of the face mask.
You got to try to get a hold of anything you can when number 2 starts rumbling downfield.
You're right about that.
Personal foul, face mask, number 44, the defense. Half the distance to the goal. First down, Alabama.
Boy, Kirk, you talk about a quick momentum shift as we check the penalty again.
Absolutely. Just great execution by that offensive line to open it up. And boy, Goodson definitely gets a hold of that face mask.
So Clemson had a 7-point lead, looked to be building another drive. Suddenly, the interception by Jackson. And that run and a penalty, and they're at the 12.
Tough to run the ball down deep in Clemson territory. A lot of times you rely on the quarterback to have to make plays throwing the ball against a very aggressive Clemson defense.
Big, strong formation. Coker better hurry. Did they catch it on the sidelines? Kiffin noticed the play clock if his quarterback didn't and called time.
The play clock has been, it's been second or third time we've seen the clock getting down to 3, 2, and 1.
Prior to the expiration of the play clock, timeout, Alabama, their second of the half. Timeout on the field.
So the Tide threatening, trying to tie things up when you come back. Goodyear providing aerial coverage. Kick off your drive with tires that return superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. Tide have driven 30 yards in just 32 seconds after the Jackson interception. First down now at the Clemson 12 after the timeout.
And the receivers are isolated one-on-one. You have the fade or the back shoulder fade that they like to go to.
Instead, it's Henry. He makes a cut and bangs down for about a 4-yard gain.
When in doubt, you get behind Cam Robinson. Boy, he is healthy and looks great. 74, 6'6", 326. Big fella.
He was the offensive MVP of the win over the Spartans. He had 5 knockdown blocks.
Dominant, and healthy. I think that was the big thing. The layoff really helped him.
Play action. Coker still got the ball. Fires behind Ridley, who couldn't collect it. not an accurate throw. It really was pretty well covered.
Yeah, and I think here Ridley ends up running into where the coverage was. And that time, Coker does a good job of trying to settle him down with the throw. You can see he's running himself right into where Ben Boulware is. Coker's trying to settle him down. And that's, again, man-to-man, you want to sprint all the way across. Zone, you want to settle down into the soft spot, which is where Coker threw that football. That's a mistake there by the freshman receiver.
Who's usually the top target, Kirk. He's been targeted 6 times, but only 3 catches for 10 yards. So 3rd and 7. It's Drake in the backfield. Coker looks back to the left. This is Ridley, who works free and weaves his way for a 1st and goal. Carlos Watkins saved the touchdown.
Yeah, last game against Michigan State, it was the vertical pass. Now underneath, he is so dangerous with the ball in his hands after the catch.
So it's not Henry, but Drake in the game. He gets the handoff. Not quite the power of the Heisman Trophy winner. He's very close, but ruled short of the goal line as B.J. Goodson and Lawson stopped him.
Yeah, and because they went so fast and Drake was in on 3rd down, they had to go fast with Drake, and now they'll get Derrick Henry back into the lineup. See that Shaq Lawson out there giving tremendous effort to be in this football game.
He sure is. He's playing on guts, a word that Dabo Swinney loves to use. Ball a foot away from the goal line. Big defensive lineman in the formation lead, blocking for Henry, who just dives to pay dirt. Robinson and Reed, those studs on the D-line, making it pretty easy for Henry that time.
You have Cam Robinson on the left side. You've got Ryan Kelly in the middle, and then you're going to follow Ashawn Robinson and Jaron Reed. Pretty good chance.
About 1,200 pounds there.
Pretty good chance of getting a push. And then, oh, by the way, Derrick Henry's a monster, too, trying to run the football.
The monster is just 2 yards short of 100 already as Griffith drives the extra point. So the interception by Eddie Jackson set it up.
That's exactly right. As good as Deshaun Watson's been in this first half, a poor read here. Jackson's interception, a couple big plays. They get down inside the 1-yard line. They bring in the big fellas, the heavy look, and Derrick Henry ties this game up.
You know the DirecTV mobile studio's got to be here after traveling the country throughout the season. About 75 guests, 50 cities, and 24 states. And now here in Glendale, Arizona, with the Tide, it turned to takeaway and into a game-tying touchdown. 14 apiece, terrific start. All you could hope for. The top 2 teams battling for a national championship. And Griffith drives the kick deep into the end zone. Well, Danny Ford was a very young head coach, and in 1981, Clemson was the only perfect team in the country, 12-0 national champs. Now, Dabo Swinney, like Ford, an Alabama grad, and a member of the '92 championship team, trying to end the 34-year drought. Another parallel, Kirk. Homer Jordan and Deshaun Watson grew up 42 miles away in the state of Georgia. Both teams went down to Miami and beat the number 4 ranked team. The difference is now Tigers got one more hurdle to clear. 12-0 used to be good enough.
That's right.
Here's a 1st down play, and Watson, perhaps an important drive to reestablish the mojo, Kirk, after the pick.
Yeah, I think so. But he's so poised. He doesn't let mistakes bother him. Watch this little stutter step to set up the block. Defense is there. Tomlinson's there. Just buys a little bit of time there. Allows the tackle Gore to come around. Well done.
Now Watson rolls and just dives down after a short gain. It'll be 3rd down.
Alabama has worked so hard in their 11 days to get ready for this game to try to contain Deshaun Watson. It's not about Tim Williams and Ryan Anderson and these guys pinning their ears back and getting after him the way they would a normal quarterback like a Connor Cook. This is about trying to box him in and try to make him make plays from the pocket.
Watson's converted 3 of 4 on 3rd down so far. Zach Brooks is the back blocking the blitz, and another catch by Renfro, a diving grab. He's short of the marker, though.
Yeah, it's a great job with the catch. Alabama brought pressure. Again, they had Minkah Fitzpatrick on him man for man. Renfro does all he can to hold on to the football, but because the ball was thrown away from him so far, he couldn't keep his feet and run after the catch. So a good stop here by Bama.
Cyrus Jones, who picked off Connor Cook just before halftime, and then in the second half had his 4th punt return for a touchdown this season to really put away the Spartans. He's deep. This is Andy Teasdall. The Tide are standing up, very wary of a potential fake. They don't really rush. Teasdall hesitates and then boots it away. And Jones lets it bounce, and it's going to take a nice roll for the Tigers down inside the 10. Midway second, tie game. Coker and Henry and company go back to work. Well, it seemed unlikely, Kirk, that anybody would ever chase down Paul Bryant's total of 6 national championships at Alabama. In the wire service era, 3 were outright, 3 were shared. But Saban running for his 5th title, his 4th at Alabama tonight. College football playoff national championship presented by AT&T, of course, creates an extra hurdle for Saban. Never had to play 15 games to try to win a title. Actually creating a debate which many thought they'd never even entertain. Could Saban perhaps be more accomplished than Bryant before he's done? Henry on first down pulls a few tacklers for 3 yards.
I think part of the reason Alabama has gone, because you and I've called a bunch of their games, to even more tempo tonight, is because watch Clemson's defense. All 11 guys, we got a player down. Looks like with Alexander.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. Of course, he is the lockdown corner who came into this game with concerns about his hamstring that he injured in the Orange Bowl. He's looked pretty good in the early going, but has to be helped to his feet. We'll take a quick break while they attend to him. Keep an eye on the left leg of Alexander as he tackles Derrick Henry here.
Coming on a blitz, the left leg goes in right there into Derrick Henry. He's on the sideline being worked on. Remember, it was his right hamstring that was talked about before the game. People wondering whether or not he'd be able to play. He's been playing the whole game, and good to see him on his feet.
Adrian Baker, Kirk, the sophomore from Hallandale, Florida, in to spell the lockdown corner. 2nd and 7. Henry has to bounce off initial traffic, but bounces well and spins out across the 20 right at the marker, and they will spot it.
Boy, Clemson does an outstanding job with a true freshman there. Wilkins getting penetration. I was surprised to see Derrick Henry get out of there. There was such a push from Clemson, but he's able to get through that initial surge and bounce off of it and then pick up those yards and almost came over the first down.
Goes over 100 yards, the 10th 100-yard rushing game this season. I don't know why the hesitation to measure this. It's right where the chain is at the 20-yard line.
The ball was spotted short of the line of the gain. It is 3rd down.
Okay, let's take another look at the spot. The ball on the sideline where he was tackled is not placed the same spot that the ball on the hash mark is. So they've ruled it's 3rd down. Saban doesn't necessarily agree with that.
No, they might want to take a look at that. That was a strange spot.
Bill Richardson is the replay official in his Pac-12 crew. But they seem satisfied with the spot, and it will be 3rd down.
Please correct the clock to read 7:02. 7:02 on the game clock.
I'm going to add 9 seconds back to the game clock. It seems likely that they're not under center, so it's going to be Henry here, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, predictable, but very, very difficult to defend as he hammers for a first down. To Heather Cox.
Well, Chris, an update on Mackenzie Alexander. As you mentioned, he was battling that right hamstring coming in. It is now a left hamstring injury. They have put ice on it and wrapped it. He is visibly in a lot of pain, very frustrated, was slamming his fist into the table. At this point, we don't know whether or not he could return, Chris.
Has not been beaten for a touchdown since early in his freshman year. Henry spins, picks up about 5 on first down. He is one of those guys who just takes away the opponent's best receiver.
It's a big deal to lose him and to lose his ability to cover. Alabama continuing to work Derrick Henry, continuing to pick up good positive yards on 1st and 10. But that, if he's out for the game, that's a big hit for Clemson. Remember last week against Oklahoma, they lost Shaq Lawson, and they were able to fight their way through it.
The grimace says a lot, doesn't it? They fake it to Henry. Coker chased and hit. Dropped by Shaq Lawson, the other defensive star who's trying to play through pain tonight. He's had a big first half.
The thing that hurts Jake Coker is if he doesn't get the ball out fast, he has a tendency to hold the ball and wait and wait and wait. And that's a coverage sack. Shaq Lawson gets home, but it's great coverage downfield. And Jake Coker, that was a problem he had early in the year. He's got to either take off, find his check down, or get rid of the football. He can't take sacks.
Tigers rush 5 on 3rd and 10, and Coker is flushed again. He's a deceptive runner, breaks a tackle, shows the toughness, but is stopped 2 yards short of the first down by Goodson.
A good job by the Clemson defense on 2nd down to have great coverage downfield. Coker holds the ball. Shaq Lawson comes up with a sack. Then that puts Alabama in that area that they've struggled all year, where Coker does not like a lot of quarterbacks, but especially this Bama offense. They are not a very effective offense when they get to that 3rd and 6 and longer position. And that time Clemson give them a huge assist there to get that football back to Deshaun Watson.
Tigers with 3 first-half sacks. Tide only gave up 20 all season. So again, to Scott's. J.K. to Artavis, and the sophomore booms this one way up. And Artavis again has to backpedal inside the 20 for the fair catch. 52 yards on the punt. Taco Bell student section combining with the college football playoff to provide 1,000 student tickets free of charge so that students could come down to Glendale and cheer on their teams. 2 long road trips for these teams from the deep south. Rarely do they venture to the west to play any football game.
But a great crowd tonight.
Yep. We think Clemson's got an edge here. A little more orange than Crimson.
About 60-40.
So Watson hands off to Gallman, who bursts through the middle, or excuse me, Zach Brooks, who's spelling Gallman. They haven't had too much success with running besides the quarterback tonight.
Boy, Zach Brooks is a physical runner. You could see it there on that run. 6'1", 200 pounds. Gets some good yards there, positive yards there on 1st and 10. Now they go empty.
They rush for. Keep Watson in the pocket. He escapes. Deshaun Watson shows some of that wizardry. He's going to be hit hard by Foster at the 30, but he gets a first down.
You think Nick Saban and Kirby Smart practiced this? They rushed with 4. They've got him right there. They've got him right where they want him, but he's able to wiggle away, shows you some strength, and then he gets into the open field and picks up the first down. It's just hard to emulate that in practice, trying to get ready for Deshaun Watson.
He spun away from an athletic pass rusher in Ryan Anderson. Watson batted down at the line. That was DJ Petway.
Petway, they try to cut him. Not very effective, but look at the push. They've got him contained. They've got him in the pocket. Anderson has him. And then once he's able to get away from Anderson, it's the combination of the strength and the speed from Deshaun Watson.
Empty backfield. Brooks in the slot. It's a high throw collected by Artavis Scott, who weaves his way for a first down across the 41.
Bama's answer right now is they're bringing pressure. They've not shown a lot of that this year, but they're trying to do anything they can to get after Deshaun Watson. But the good thing is it's a quick throw for Clemson, and once they are able to contain and deal with the pressure, there's room to run.
Watson again steps up, tries to escape. Still looking, just dumps it short. Brooks in the flat, makes the catch, makes a first down, and a flag comes in very late. It was well away from the play.
It looked like a man who was downfield by about 5 or 6 yards. They might have their eye on Joe Gore, the right tackle. So one thing when a quarterback creates, it's tough on those linemen to not get downfield.
You talked about the strength of Watson.
An eligible receiver downfield, number 73 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down will be repeated.
And strength is something that Eric Stryker, who played him in the Orange Bowl, said he didn't really figure that Deshaun Watson would show that kind of strength. He had to show some hand strength to not fumble the ball in that play. Almost lost it.
He sure did. And he is creating like crazy tonight. Urban Meyer said earlier tonight on our pregame show on game day, he said, you know, the quarterback's ability to create the plays that aren't necessarily drawn up will be big. Same with Brian Kelly and Hugh Freeze.
It's 1st and 16 after the penalty. They flip it to Gallman, and Foster flies in there and knocks him down for a loss.
Just a great job by Reuben Foster, the junior. Reggie Ragland patrols the middle. They get Reuben Foster's athletic ability to the outside, and boy, that time they took their run completely away from Wayne Gallman. Great speed onto the edge.
It's the first time they've made a tackle behind the line tonight. Sets up 2nd and 20. Gallman on a delay and another loss. Deshaun Hand, part of that deep group, the defensive lineman on the stop.
This is just a matter of being prepared. You know, 2nd and 20, screen or draw is probably going to be the call. The defense, look at them, they have 5 or 6 white jerseys, either waiting for Deshaun Watson to run on the draw or a handoff to Gallman.
So the Tigers moving backwards. 3rd and 23. Watson escapes again briefly, but is dropped at the 30. Rashaan Evans, and these are reserves for Bama making plays and killing the drive.
They get you to 3rd down, and Evans and Williams come in. Nick Saban loves to use them with speed off the edge, and this was 3rd and forever. See him off to the right there. I think he felt that Gallman was going to be able to sustain that block.
Watson having a conversation with the officials and a slow walk to the sideline. But with tempo from the Tigers, Kirk, the depth of this Alabama defense is coming to the forefront. As you take another look at the hit there, it was Evans on the knee of Watson.
Yeah. A big hit there, and it looks like the right hip. Boom, contact right there on the hip. You know, you always think about Clemson's offense wearing down the opponent because of the tempo and the amount of plays. I don't know if there's anybody on this field that's had to do more for his team than Deshaun Watson. The play calls where he's been running the football, the amount of times that he's scrambled, created to buy time and throw the football, he's worked as hard as anybody. He's going to have to show a lot of durability tonight, the last 4 quarters at this pace.
He's run it 9 times for 45 yards, 9 for 15, 122 yards passing, and the 2 touchdowns to Renfro and the interception that set up Alabama's tying touchdown. Teasdale just 1 step and a low boot along the sidelines as they try to keep it away from Cyrus Jones, and he does roll out of bounds. Well, Saturday night, January 23rd, the premiere of NBA Saturday Primetime on ABC, presented by La Quinta. LeBron is your guy on the Eastern Conference leading Cavs. Take on the Bulls. NBA Countdown at 8 o'clock. Cavs Bulls at 8:30 on ABC. Also streaming live on the Watch ESPN app. Watson seems to be okay.
Tough guy.
For sure.
Provides such leadership for this team. Only a true sophomore.
So now Alabama with 1:45, but they had to burn those timeouts, so they don't have any to work with here. If Coker tries to get the lead, he's hesitating, dropped in the pocket. All the protection is breaking down big time now.
And again, the coverage took away his primary. Lane Kiffin rolling the dice without the timeouts. Remember, Jake Coker's not had a great first half. He's been doing a lot of this, hesitant, holding the ball, confused, surprised that they were willing to maybe take a chance deep in their own territory this late in the first half without any timeouts. At this point, they've got to just work the clock and get out of here.
Got a big problem blocking Kevin Dodd right now, don't they?
Sure do.
I wondered if maybe Sweeney might use one of his 3 timeouts to perhaps try to get the ball back. Not so far. As the Tide being very patient now after that first down loss. This is Henry for a short gain.
And that's Gabo Sweeney calls his first timeout.
So he's thinking at least force Alabama to punt. The Buick halftime report. Reese Davis, Desmond Howard, Urban Meyer coming up. Interested to get their thoughts as we reached the final minute of a first half that got off to a very frantic start. It was Derrick Henry with the bolt for the touchdown. Deshaun Watson responding with a couple of touchdown drives. Then he threw the interception, and it was Henry's second touchdown to bring us where we are, 14 apiece.
About as good of a first half as you and I could hope for as just fans of this game and hoping to see a competitive game. It's a game of momentum. It always is in college football. You're going to go back and forth. You got to give Deshaun Watson and Hunter Renfrow a lot of credit for making some plays, but also Alabama for hanging tough. Their defense comes up with the interception from Eddie Jackson. Then they're able to pound the football and get it in for a touchdown to tie it up. But this is exactly what we'd hope for as a great football game. And we'll see how this continues to go into the second half.
We figure that Kiffin and the offensive brain trust, Kirk, will have a lot to talk about at halftime about this pass protection problem. 4 sacks in the first half given up. Coker drops back, delivers a throw. Ridley juggles it, retreats, gets a block on the edge, and runs a long way to come up short of a first down.
Here's the problem on 3rd and 18. A young freshman trying to make plays like that. Ben Boulware now is down. He goes out of bounds. He stops the clock. Clemson saves another timeout.
Boulware is down at the 7-yard line. He was one of the guys trying to chase down the speedy Ridley. But again, we've seen perhaps some big game freshman mistakes a little bit from Ridley.
There's Mackenzie Alexander being walked off. Hate that for him, playing in a national championship. Ben Boulware was just chasing Ridley on that play and dove to make a play, and then O.J. Howard, who was trying to block him, just landed on top of him. But I'll go back to my point about Ridley, a freshman mistake, trying to make something happen on 3rd and forever, goes out of bounds.
Yeah.
Clemson saves now 2 timeouts for Deshaun Watson as they try to work to get into field goal range before the half.
Artavis Scott standing at his 40 to receive J.K. Scott's punt. It's a returnable boot, but a fair catch call by Scott, who had some room. Backpedals to the 34.
Look at the scoring plays tonight, Chris. It started with a big fella, a hole that just opened up. A touchdown for Derrick Henry to get off to a great start. But this is when things began to change. We started to see some great throws from Deshaun Watson on a wheel route to Hunter Renfrow. Again, the freshman walk-on receiver gets behind Minkah Fitzpatrick to make it 14-7. And then, as we said, after the interception by Eddie Jackson, Bama gets deep into Clemson territory and ties his football game up.
Tigers would need to get about 35 yards, Kirk, to be in comfortable field goal range for Greg Hugel, who's long as 47. Watson has a lot of room, but decides to flip it over the middle, and it's caught. Sharon Peak, big gain to the Alabama 40, and they're hurrying now.
Yeah, they're going to go hurry up here. Dabo Swinney doesn't want to use a timeout. Deshaun Watson, who is very calm in these situations, gets the play called. They're ready to go.
Watson flips it over the middle, and Brooks catches it and immediately takes a shot there from Foster.
Now you got to call the timeout, obviously. Leaves them with 1 because of Ridley going out of bounds. They still have the 1 timeout. What a job there, Chris, on 1st and 10 by Deshaun Watson. Remember, we talked about how he scrambles. He's not always going to scramble to run. This time he scrambles to try to buy time, and now he's going to wait for his receiver to break free right into that open area. And Peak, because of his size at 6'3", 215 pounds, does a good job of using his body to keep the defender away from the football and uses the hands to bring it in.
Nick Saban animated looking at Ronnie Harrison, one of his true freshman defensive backs, and coverage in that play. So Clemson has the timeout. They need to get about 7 or 8 yards closer to get in the range for Hugel in terms of his career long.
His biggest fear, telling us, was when Watson scrambles, he says plaster. The defensive backs have to plaster the receivers. That time they did not.
Empty backfield. Watson retreating, fires near side. Brooks is open. Stutter step. First down. That'll stop the clock momentarily. 12 seconds in the half. Tigers trying to spike the ball and save the timeout. And now timeout is called.
Well, the clock's running. The clock did not. That's what he's trying to tell them. the clock was continuing to run on a first down. It was 12 seconds.
Taking their third and final timeout of the half.
Boy.
Please correct the game clock to read 9 seconds.
Well, add 3 seconds back. So 12 seconds when the first down yardage was gained.
He's saying fire. That's their sign for fire the ball, kill the clock, kill the clock. For whatever reason, they kept moving the clock. They kept moving the game clock on a first down. There was 12 seconds. The game clock should have stopped.
It's been eventful for Clemson at the end of first halves. Remember the brain cramp by Watson in the Florida State game when he clocked the ball against the Seminoles, cost them a chance, and then the interception that he threw, the bad decision against the Sooners in the end zone in the last game.
That wasn't on him.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not saying in this situation.
Yeah.
Remember that he's not going to take a chance here now. Out of timeouts, they send out Hugel from 44. He's been reliable. This for the lead. An ugly line drive kick that is no good. So each team has missed a field goal of makeable distance. And it's going to be 14 apiece at the break.
Interesting finish. Look at Cyrus Jones, and looked like DJ Petway may have got a hand on that football.
Tough to tell from that angle, but the kick did not look very pretty after it got past the line. Let's see if we can see if it was blocked by Petway.
Yeah, it looked like he may have got a hand on the football.
Looked like the spin changed a little bit. You're right.
Yeah, DJ Petway, 57, the senior. Yeah, definitely got a hand on the football. And he's letting you know about it.
That's what you have to do when you make a block in a championship game. Just in case you didn't notice the change in spin. I got that one, guys.
That was me.
Henry stutter steps and is knocked down near the 40 as time expires in an exciting, eventful, and pretty darn even opening half. Clemson has the edge in yardage, 219 to 195. The one turnover setting up the tying touchdown. Both defenses flexing a little bit, especially Clemson's pass rush. Up for Nick Saban to think about. To Tom Rinaldi.
Chris, thank you very much. A tie game going in a half, Coach. What's the more important adjustment, protecting your quarterback or finding a way to limit theirs?
Well, we can't take negative plays. Jake's got to get rid of the ball. He's got to throw the check down. He's got to get rid of the ball. Every time we have a negative play, it stops a drive. We got to do a better job on their quarterback because he's really hurt us with the scramble plays, extending plays, and running the football. So that's probably the difference in the game right now. I mean, those two things right there.
Appreciate it, Nick. Let's go to Heather.
Tom, thanks so much, Coach. You're 30 minutes away from potentially walking out of here with a national championship trophy. What more does this team need to do to make that happen?
Well, they're playing their tails off right now, both teams. I mean, this is the way it ought to be. You know, we made the one mistake, kind of made the wrong throw right there, and they capitalized on that. Really frustrated with how the clock was handled right there. That's very disappointing. Cost me a timeout. But, hey, it's a tie ball game. You know, we'll get in here and see if we can come out and play a little better second half, find a way to win it.
Dabo, thanks so much for your time. Chris, back up to you.
Tigers will get the ball to begin the second half. They've scored on their opening possession of the second half the last 3 games. End of the half in Glendale. Stay tuned after these messages for the Buick halftime report.
This is it, we're going in. Time to show them what we're made of.
Welcome to the national championship game. The Tide and the Tigers battle for the title.
The attention of the world tonight.
Henry makes a cut, off and running. The Heisman winner headed for the end zone. Touchdown Tigers as they answered a strike and a touchdown again. Henry dives to Pater. Back and forth, an excellent first half of the college football playoff national championship game presented by AT&T. Each team with 2 touchdowns and a missed field goal. Dabo Swinney-Kirk was hot at the end of the half, and we'll show you why. Zach Brooks made a catch which gained a first down. The clock did not seem to stop immediately, and eventually he had to spend his final timeout.
Yeah, I thought he had a legitimate beef. You see the play clock on the left there at 19, 18, and again to the yellow line, first down. Okay, he gets tackled with 15, 14 seconds, worst case. Clock goes to 12, so there's 2 or maybe 3 seconds. Now watch the clock now. The ball's not even spotted, and the clock's already started. That's why Dabo panicked down at the bottom. Ended up, he's trying to say clock it, meaning fire the ball into the ground. He sees the game clock's moving. He runs to the ref to call the timeout, and now he's frustrated. He ended up missing a chance at a shorter field goal, maybe a shot in the end zone, and they end up a longer kick. DJ Petway ends up blocking it. So I understand his frustration there walking off his sideline.
Clemson to get the football, and they have been red hot at the beginning of the second half. In the last 3 ball games, they've scored each time, opening possession of the second half, all of them touchdowns. Scott fakes the reverse and gets a little crease in a return out across the 20-yard line as we check in with Heather Cox for an update from the Clemson side.
Chris, Dabo Swinney's message to his team at halftime was simple. We have 2 quarters to win a national championship. We don't need to make any fundamental changes. You guys are playing like crazy. What you need to do is eliminate any mistakes, and we will be fine. Also, 2 injury reports for you on defense. Ben Boulware, their linebacker, has a strained deltoid in his shoulder. He will return. However, Chris, big loss. Mackenzie Alexander, who was struggling to even put weight on that left leg, will not return with that hamstring injury.
Tavis Scott, after the return, appeared to limp off as Gallman tries the right side and is driven back for a 3-yard loss by Humphrey. And there is Scott, who's their top pass receiver after the kickoff return, Kirk.
Yeah, and he had some injuries late at the end of the season, had some work done, had a scope done to his knee after the season ended against North Carolina before the Oklahoma game, and has looked terrific since that procedure.
Watson straight back, flips it across the middle. Renfro with the catch. It's a pretty deep core, but remember that Mike Williams, their top guy, fractured his neck colliding with a goalpost in the opening game, and then Deion Kane was suspended, sent home before the Orange Bowl. So they're down 2 key guys from the start of the year.
Yeah, so you turn to Ray McLeod now, who's in, a true freshman at 5'10", 180 pounds out of Tampa, Florida.
Watson on 3rd and 3. Pitches it near side into traffic. Some miscommunication, almost picked off. Humphrey was in coverage. There were 2 Tiger receivers, but not on the same page.
No, you're right. It was a miscommunication, yet a soft coverage against the inside receiver. That's who I think he wanted to throw the ball 2-legged. The ball goes high. Leak's trying to actually block. Sharon Peak's actually trying to block, and that's why he's saying, I thought you were going to cut out. A miscommunication here to start this second half on 3rd down cost him potentially picking up the first down and keeping the drive alive.
Yeah, 3 and out. And the dangerous Cyrus Jones standing at his 25. Teasdale, low snap, low boot, and doesn't get a great roll. In fact, it just stops right there at the 36-yard line as we check in with Tom Rinaldi on the Alabama side.
Chris, talked to Lane Kiffin coming out of the locker room at halftime. I asked him what he told Jay Coker. He said it was simple. Step up in the pocket and stand tall. Stop running around the rush. That's what's creating sacks, and that's what's limiting the opportunities. He said he told his quarterback, if we don't commit turnovers, we're going to win this game. Nick Saban, at the foot of the tunnel before the team took the field, can't really use all the words that he used, a few expletives there, but basically said, light a fire under yourselves. This is fun. This is what we worked for. This is why we're here. Go out and take it.
3rd quarters have been terrific for Alabama this season. They have dominated opponents in the 3rd quarter. 2-back look now. Henry and Drake. They hand it to the Heisman winner, and he plows forward for about 4.
We talked to the entire first half about Jay Coker and some of the issues that he's had. Give Clemson credit, though. Here's an example how they dropped both their defensive ends. They blitzed the linebackers. You can see the coverage downfield. That's what Lane Kiffin's talking about. All that running around. He wants them to step up in the pocket. Here's another example where they confuse him. And they have done a good job of making him hold on to the football.
They flip it to Drake in the flat. Stiff arm, nice move around the edge by Drake, and he shows the quicks to get a first down.
And remember, Mackenzie Alexander is not out there to the field corner. They have Adrian Baker in there, a sophomore who's not played nearly as much football. So you take one of your best cover men out of the game with the injury, and you put in Adrian Baker, and that was exactly where they picked up that first down.
2-by-2 look. They fake it to Henry. Coker loops it downfield. Howard is wide open, and the tight end will waltz to the end zone. 53 yards against a confused secondary.
The confusion's right here. You have two receivers into the boundary, only one defensive back. But this safety right here, TJ Green, not reacting, and you can see the receiver, the big tight end, actually slips downfield. A blown coverage by the Clemson Tigers, and TJ Green, who I don't think recognized the tight end along with the receiver into the boundary.
You know why O.J. Howard is getting hugged by teammates, Kirk? His first touchdown reception of this season. He's a talented guy, a top prospect. Sometimes a little bit forgotten in the game plan, but boy, when he's called on, he can make a big play. Hasn't caught a touchdown since 2013, and it's the go-ahead score in a championship game.
Boy, he's had a quiet year with so much potential, and as you said, what better game than the championship to be able to have your first touchdown of the year.
Griffith knocks it through. He told me last week, sometimes I have to wait and be patient, but when I get a chance, I got to make sure I take it.
He sure took it here. Clemson busts a coverage. Give Jake Coker a lot of credit for being able to recognize that. And here's a look at the play from the AT&T pylon cam as O.J. Howard takes it into the end zone, stays in bounds, and the Tide are up now by a touchdown in this second half.
And Watson has to answer again. Another look at a tackle on Henry by Mackenzie Alexander that led to the injury that has knocked him out of the game, as Heather reported moments ago. Helped back onto the field to try to be moral support for a secondary that just gave up a big touchdown play. Kickoff, and Scott, after hesitating, takes a knee.
Should mention that was the side where Cordray Tankersley, the corner, lines up. It was not towards Adrian Baker, but we talked about TJ Green maybe being confused there. And Lane Kiffin, I think, knew it as soon as the ball was snapped. He knew he had exactly what he wanted. We'll see how Clemson responds to this.
Kiffin has a habit of raising his arms, signaling a touchdown well before the ball is even thrown sometimes if he knows it's going to be a score.
You're right. On that play, his hands went up in the air, and he was way down by where Howard caught the ball, and most kind of telling Coker, throw it over here.
So the Tigers, who went 3 and out in their first possession of the half, go back to work, and the handoff to Scott, who seems to be okay. The receiver coming to take the handoff. That's good news for Clemson. They need some.
Yeah, and that's a great pickup because they're getting wide again. And now remember we talked at the beginning of the game, you got to run wide on Alabama with your speed. You got to try to wear down the Alabama front with tempo and with wide runs.
Gallman, who looks quick as he did in the second half of Miami, bolts for a quick first down.
I'm glad you brought that up because he hit a different gear. We talked to him about that the other day. He feels, all the talk about Henry getting stronger for the Bama offense, he feels he gets just as strong in the second half.
That time, penetration, he has to spin away just to fight back to the line of scrimmage. Ragland blew it up.
So much talk about the Alabama defensive line. Truth be told, the true leader of this defense, the alpha, is Reggie Ragland there in the middle, number 19.
Top tackler coming in by 33 tackles over the next guy in that Bama defense.
They've always had great linebacker play over the years when they've won championships. Remember Roe McClain in 09, Dante Hightower in 11, C.J. Mosley in 12, and now in 15, Reggie Ragland.
Made a smart choice to come back for his senior year, didn't he? Unanimous All-American. Now they flip it short to Brooks, who has a block and a crease. Zach Brooks still rumbling to the Alabama 40.
They get Joe Gore, the right tackle, out in front to lead him. Watch him right here lead to the outside. The big fella trying to, if anything, try to pick up a block, which he does on Minkah Fitzpatrick.
He got 22 yards. Watson now with the keeper as the Tigers employ their trademark tempo again.
Well, they are. It's like now they're not substituting. Peak, the receiver on the right, moving now over to the left. Still going tempo, not allowing Bama to substitute.
From the pocket, the downfield shot, Renfro in a battle and a flag. Interfered with by Minkah Fitzpatrick. Again, it was freshman on freshman.
The only difference is it's a freshman who's a 5-star can't-miss prospect and a walk-on who played option quarterback last year.
Good point.
Pass interference. Number 29 of the defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Now the walk-on got the better of the 5-star guy there.
And he has all night. I mean, that's been a matchup that we've seen Deshaun Watson be able to exploit. Once that ball's in the air, Minkah Fitzpatrick gets pretty physical with Renfro. The last thing he wants to do is give up another touchdown to Renfro.
Ball near the 20. Watson still got it. Trying to escape. That time they close him down.
Reggie Ragland forced him back to the inside where Deshaun Hand and the rest of the Crimson Tide defense was. That's what you need to do against Watson, is just do the best job that you can in corralling him, not allowing him to create on those pass plays.
11 rushes so far for the quarterback, 50 yards net. From the pocket, over the middle, and broken up. Fitzpatrick closed quickly. Jermon Hopper was running a post.
Great closing speed here this time. We've talked a lot about Fitzpatrick. This time he does a good job of keeping his eyes on the football. And by keeping his eyes on the football, it gives him a chance to be able to break on the ball. Great quickness there and great change of direction by the freshman.
Big moment now, 3rd and 9. They're in field goal range, but can Watson again create some 3rd down magic?
Remember, Leggett's here, and they also have to be careful the quarterback scramble from empty.
Pressure. Pocket closes down. End zone throw! Incomplete. It was Scott battling for the ball. A beautiful throw to the corner. Deshaun thought he had one.
I don't know if he could have handed the football to Hopper any better than the way. Look at this throw right over top of Harrison, who, by the way, does a great job. Hopper has it until he comes down, but Ronnie Harrison, another true freshman, gets his hands in there, doesn't give up on the play, and rips it away at the last split second away from Hopper. Great
throw. Could be a 4-point play right there. The ex-high school quarterback making a huge play. And now it's Hugel, who had his opening attempt blocked as the Tide only had 10 men on the field, ran a man on late, and Hugel knocks it through from 37. So Clemson answers the touchdown with 3, and the Tide still up by 4. National championship trophy. It is worthy of the occasion. Clemson moving 55 yards in a very quick 9 plays to create the 37-yard field goal to cut into Bama's lead. It's a terrific play by the true freshman Ronnie Harrison to deny the touchdown catch.
Just absolutely tremendous effort there by the freshman.
Hugel's kick drives Drake to the goal line. And a tough return to the 25. Another look at Harrison's great play here.
Let's take a look at this. This is tremendous effort by 15. Ronnie Harrison has his hands, and I think Hopper has it, and right there almost backhands it the last second. Take a look at this play from the AT&T pylon cam. The ball is caught, and then the backhand effort at the very end right there. That's a great look at it as they come right into your family room. Our pylon cam.
I think Watson and Scott thought they had a touchdown there.
Absolutely.
So now Bama with that touchdown in the last possession. The great play call by Lane Kiffin. The execution by Coker to Howard. Trying to build on a 4-point lead. Coker under center. It's play action. Again, holding the ball too long, getting sacked by Kevin Dodd. Again, a flag comes in.
Speaking of holding, Dominique Jackson doing everything he can to try to slow down Kevin Dodd, who's having a field day tonight.
Holding. Number 76 of the offense. The penalty is declined. 2nd down.
Watch him come over in 76, the right tackle. 98 Dodd up at the top of the screen. Just uses he's out even late off of the snap, but he's just getting around him with quickness. 6'5", 275, has been doing it all year. Well, everybody wants to talk about Shaq Lawson. It's been Dodd that's been just as effective, and I would argue that as a duo, bookends, they might be as good as you'll see in the entire country.
You singled out Jackson. He's a good run blocker, but he struggles in that kind of pass protection in space, doesn't he? Henry, short gain.
See, it's easy to look at 3rd down and long and say, boy, it's been a problem for Alabama all year. But tonight, what's hurt them is 1st and 10. They have struggled on 1st and 10, and it's put them in 2nd and long and 3rd and long.
That short run for Henry creates another record, a milestone, all-time rushing record, head by Deshaun Alexander in 1 year as a full-time starter. He's gotten it. 15 needed on 3rd down, and Henry again. Another flag comes in as he's knocked down for a short gain.
I think they got another hold here. Dominic Jackson, I think, again may get caught here, the right tackle.
He's a guy, he was an offensive lineman in a wing T system.
Number 76 of the offense. This penalty is declined. 4th down.
In high school and in junior college. This is kind of new for him.
Yeah, I think Clemson was pretty confident in talking to their coaches about the matchup up in the trenches. You see him just working right here on the right side. Watch him just wraps up. I mean, that's arguably one of the best tackles of the night by Alabama. he wrapped him up perfectly.
The Tigers force a 3 and out. J.K. Scott drives Artavis Scott back to the 26, and he fights hard out near the 40. So Deshaun Watson will have good field position as he tries to create a go-ahead touchdown drive. You're watching the National College Football Playoff Championship game presented by AT&T. Well, the All-State bus reminder that the big winner is Heather Honeychuck. The 2nd annual All-State It's Good sweepstakes is part of the package. Heather takes home $100,000 from All-State and a trip to New Orleans for the 2016 All-State Sugar Bowl. And we'll come out here to watch the championship game as well. So Clemson down by 4, takes over at the 40 after an important stop from their defense. Watson keeping it all the way as a blocker. Gets the edge. Deshaun Watson off and galloping to the 40 of the time, driven out by Cyrus Jones.
That's a zone read. They read the defensive end that time. Petway, who came down. Great read by Watson to keep the football. And then there's a lot of room around that edge to pick up yards. And with his speed, we can see what he can do. That's their best part of running the football tonight is Deshaun Watson on that zone read.
Watson hit as he throws, and another diving catch made. Leggett's had a couple of great catches as Watson got hammered hard.
Well, Petway shot through the gap. The true freshman on the left side, Mitch Wyatt. Watch him at the top. Petway gets inside of him, and now he lowers the boom right there on Deshaun Watson. Lucky to get that ball off, and also lucky to get up from that hit from Petway.
3rd catch from Leggett. Gallman in the game has yet to get on track. Really hasn't done anything. The Tigers' top running back who had almost 1,500 yards coming in. Watson again pressured, throws to the end zone. Renfro tried to make the hat trick touchdown catch, could not come up with it. Fitzpatrick again in coverage, and McLeod, another receiver, was in the area.
Well, he knew that he had to throw this football with quite a bit of velocity. They had a safety in the middle of the field who's coming over to get involved, but it's that matchup again. Renfro against Fitzpatrick. The ball is thrown away from Eddie Jackson to not give him a chance to come over on the ball, and because of that, it went too far behind the freshman receiver.
What a terrific battle between those two freshmen. As you said, the 5-star corner and the ex-walk-on receiver. And a false start.
False start, number 34 of the offense. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
It's on McLeod. Well, it's only 5 yards, Kirk, but when you're down here in potential scoring position, it stings.
In this kind of game, that's huge. We keep talking about how this game's coming down to conversion opportunities on 3rd down, and the way you give yourself a chance is to do well on 1st and 10. And when you're a tempo team, the most important thing is continuing to get 1st downs to keep that defense on their heels.
It makes this 2nd down play really big. Play clock winding down. Got to hurry and just get it off. Pressure again. Watson escapes again. A lot of green grass in front of it. Another 1st down scamper for number 4. He is so tough to stop.
They brought a blitz with Minka Fitzpatrick and also the linebacker Reuben Foster. See him coming to the right? He looks to throw, but now there's nobody left. Everybody's downfield in coverage. He wanted to throw the ball, but he recognizes the blitz in the open area, takes off and picks up yards.
A 20-yard run and now a 16-yard run, and Deshaun's getting near another 100-yard game. This time a throwback in traffic. Catch and made. Short gain by Peak as we check Nick Saban's reaction.
The number one thing Nick Saban wanted to do is not allow Deshaun Watson to create. He's been working for 11 days with Kirby Smart on this defense. And it's one thing for the genius of all geniuses, Nick Saban, to have a plan, but you have to go out and do it. This is the best quarterback, in my opinion, they have faced the entire year, and maybe one of the best they've ever faced since Nick Saban's been in Tuscaloosa.
He's gotten the award as the best quarterback in the country this season. 2nd and 6. The Tide again crowding the line, but they flip it to Gallman, who cannot get far. Jackson held him up, and then the posse arrived, but it's a 1st and goal for Clemson.
You can't run the football with your best back. Try to get the ball out in the flat to give him a chance, and he looked like he landed awkwardly after the initial contact there, and he kind of limps off. Let's hope he's okay. When he pulled away from Eddie Jackson, you could see that he landed a little bit awkwardly there, but it's a good way to get him involved in the game. He's had a rough night, as you just mentioned, running the ball. You get the ball out wide, it gives him a chance to get his hands on the ball out in space.
Tide running a whole bunch of fresh troops on defense. The play clock winding down. Do they see it? Timeout, says Sweeney. He went all the way down to the 5-yard line. Deshaun had not noticed the clock counting down. He wants the play call a little quicker, doesn't he? So Clemson threatening to claim the lead when you come back. Wayne Gallman, Kirk, had his leg looked at by the trainer after this awkward landing right there on the tackle from Jackson.
Yeah, that right there, that's what I saw live, and he kept fighting to try to pick up yards. The good news is he at least is up for now and trying to talk the coaches into letting him continue. He's actually out there. He did a good job of negotiating. He's back out on the field.
Yeah. 1st and goal. Can the Tigers muscle the ball in? Watson on the edge, takes a big shot, knocked down at the 2 by Ragland. A Bama defense that's only given up 6 rushing touchdowns all season.
Surprised that Alabama attacked and squeezed in on the running back Gallman and gave Deshaun Watson a chance around the corner. You'd think it'd be tough sledding in between the tackles, and you would think they'd want to run Deshaun Watson wide.
Gallman hit and dropped for a loss. That was Denzel Duvall penetrating its 3rd down.
And also saw Ashawn Robinson getting in there. Deion Hamilton coming off the edge. I'm telling you, it is hard to get inside.
What do you call here, Kirk?
I get Deshaun Watson on the edge. I give him an option to be able to get out wide and use his speed. It's tough to run between the tackles.
Well, they've got a power look. I formation. Couple of tight ends. And a handoff to Gallman, who smashes straight ahead and scores. Tigers go strength on strength and take the lead.
Very, very impressive by that Clemson offensive line. 5 new starters. The continuity is as strong as any unit on this offense. And Dabo Swinney, Jeff Scott, and Tony Elliott, at a crucial moment in the game, they go behind that offensive line against the strength of Bama, the defensive line.
A minute ago he was limping, and then he scores, now he's dancing. Wayne Gallman, one of many tough customers on this Clemson roster. The look, making sure that he broke the plane.
tell you.
Yeah, it looks pretty clear.
Yeah, I'll tell you, there was a heck of a block by a freshman, Garrett Williams, the fullback. You don't see a lot of fullback play out of Clemson, but Garrett Williams gave Reggie Ragland all he could handle as those two collided right at the hole, and number 44 in orange pushed Reggie Ragland backwards.
It's a touchdown that gives the Tigers the lead as Hugo converts, but also makes a statement to that Alabama defense. We're going to come right at you. Gallman is trotting off after scoring the go-ahead touchdown, which capped a 9-play, 60-yard touchdown drive.
Yeah, this is a critical moment in this game, and I'm very, very impressed with what Clemson can do here. Keep an eye on the fullback as he leads, and watch the block on Reggie Ragland, 19, right in the middle. Boom! How about that contact? And the way he took that veteran and pushed him back. Here's another good look at the collision. That's a crucial block, because if Ragland pushes Williams back into the backfield, the rest of the Alabama defense is probably there and able to keep him out of the end zone.
Freshman from Orlando. Williams not called on to do all that much, but a big play in a big moment. And Davo says, yeah, you're pointing right at him. That's power football.
It's great to see. Fullbacks don't get a lot of chances in this offense. And remember Dabo Swinney saying, big part of this game is stick around, get to the third and fourth quarter. We get to that fourth quarter and we have the lead, or we get to that fourth quarter and we're in striking distance. We feel like we own the fourth quarter. We hear about Alabama and Scott Cochran, their strength and conditioning coach, about the fourth quarter, but Clemson feels like if they can get you into the fourth quarter, they can win the game.
Hugo boots it to Drake. Nowhere to run. You make a great point. These are two teams that really feel like they own the final 15 minutes. All-State celebrating its 11th year, sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, making contributions to general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked, contributing millions so far in scholarship funds. Clemson, when they've had the lead going to the fourth quarter, has won 51 in a row. Think about that. It's going back 5 years. That's crazy. But this year, they've had to hang on, Kirk. They've actually been outscored in the fourth quarter, yet somehow been able to protect that streak.
And with 4:42 to go here in the third quarter, all of a sudden Death Valley starting to feel like it's alive here in the desert.
Clemson faithful making a whole lot of noise as the Heisman winner is knocked down by Goodson after a short gain.
Remember, a theme that's been developing here is when Coker drops back to throw, Dominique Jackson and Taylor on the right side have really struggled to slow down the pass rush of Kevin Dodd. I think Lane Kiffin's got to come up with an adjustment, either throwing screens, quick passes, try to get the ball out of the hands of Jake Coker quickly. Otherwise, you got Coker back there holding the ball, and you've got Dodd and Shaq Lawson closing in on him.
They move the pocket, and Howard is wide open again. The tight end rumbling across the 35. Made a couple of big plays tonight.
Boy, what a call to be able to get Kevin Dodd, who's had a big night, collapsing down. They go naked around him. He's collapsed so much and had so much success. Instead, they work around him. Misdirection against an aggressive defense. Great call again by Lane Kiffin.
Coker again having an efficient night. 12 of 16 for 158 and a touchdown. Henry just nowhere to run. The middle is completely clogged up by orange jerseys.
I think we need to talk a little bit about Brent Venables, the defensive coordinator from Clemson. What a great job that he has done this year. He lost 9 starters off of this defense, including his entire front 7. He had to play some young people early. Christian Wilkins, DJ Reader wasn't even involved until about week 8 or week 9, and they have not missed a beat in 2015. Doing a good job of disguising and mixing up the looks tonight.
Coker rolls and delivers a low throw. It's been a very quiet night for Ardarius Stewart. And that's incomplete.
Ball slipped right through his hands. It was a low throw, but a catchable ball. Stewart has had a quiet game.
Here's a guy who's been on a tear. He's been making huge catches down the stretch. big SEC games for Alabama, but shut out tonight.
It's the 7th time tonight that Alabama has had 3rd and 9 or longer. And they've only converted one of them.
Here comes the pressure. Coker gets protection, delivers, and is off the hands of Mullaney. The normally reliable receiver would have had first down yardage. Blanks in the coverage.
But great job by the offensive line. Watch him drop a little bit to his left away from Dodd. Kind of a soft roll. A great job of throwing the football. This ball's thrown with a lot of velocity. Mullaney usually sure-handed, especially on 3rd down. Just could not hold on to the football as Travis Blanks was in coverage there.
So Stewart and Mullaney with drops. And Scott a low punt. Artavis Scott came up to field it, pinballing around a couple of huge shots that he takes. Knocked down at the 38.
How great is this to see two teams playing with all of their heart? I mean, these guys want a championship. You know what I mean? This is amazing.
They are showing it. Nice night for flying. Goodyear providing our aerial coverage. Everything Goodyear has learned. Making tires that go the distance inspires, but they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Really, you'd expect nothing less from these two teams who have been the best this season.
I just love to see you get into the second half, close to the 4th quarter. The game could go either way, and they're fighting with everything they got to win this game.
With Gallman getting looked at, it's Brooks in the backfield, but they flip it to McLeod, the receiver, who reverses direction and is driven out by Fitzpatrick after a gain of about 4.
A little bit of a wrinkle there from Clemson with essentially 2 running backs in the backfield. You've seen so much of the one-back look, whether it's been Gallman or Brooks. That time having McCullum back there, or McLeod rather.
Watson rolls, and Renfro was wide open. Fitzpatrick slipped that time.
Well, this has been a tough matchup, and a matchup that Clemson's been able to take advantage of. Yeah, Fitzpatrick goes down, loses his footing because of the move. The offensive coaches from Clemson, we tell you, the guy with the quickest change of direction, Deshaun Watson wants that one back, is Renfro, the walk-on freshman.
Tigers need 6 on 3rd down. Brooks in the slot, 5 receiver look.
Chris, here's Renfro right here.
Watson looks middle, complete. Goes to the other reliable target, big Jordan Leggett, the junior tight end, and they move the chains.
Well, by going empty, they spread the defense out. They get outside leverage, which opens it up pretty easy for Jordan Leggett. And you're right, tonight he's either looking at Leggett or Renfro on those 3rd and mediums.
Watson to Scott, and a short gain on the far side. Every time they convert one of those 3rd downs, you can just see a little deflation in an Alabama defense.
I'll tell you the difference between last game against Michigan State and Connor Cook and what you're seeing tonight is the tempo, and a quarterback that can run and throw has Alabama. They're not the aggressor. They're on their heels. They're not pinning their ears back, dictating things. Things are being dictated to them.
Watson rolls, wants to throw back. So look downfield, and again tries to find Brooks. Foster, the linebacker, was tracking him closely. It's 3rd and 8.
I don't know if Brooks slowed down on that route or not, but good coverage downfield that time. They tried to get Reuben Foster out of position. And Wayne Gallman is saying, this is a national championship, guys. I've got to do anything and everything I need to do to get back out on that field.
Now, what does Kirby Smart, in his final game as Bama defensive coordinator, what does he call here on this 3rd down play from his side? Will they try to bring pressure? Now they rush 4. Watson still got it, pressured, escapes again. Cannot escape that time. They finally get to him for the first time.
Chris, they actually spy this time with Rashaan Evans. Right over the right guard, right here. Watch him. Keep an eye on him and see what he does. See how he just sits in the middle? takes away that running lane, forces him wide, and now he's able to chase him down and use the speed of Alabama. Nice adjustment with the spy from Kirby Smart and Nick Saban, taking away the ability of Deshaun Watson stepping into the pocket and looking for that first down.
First sack of the season for Evans, so a little wrinkle there from Smart as they do change the philosophy on third down. Here's a good punt. Teasdale and a nice roll. It gets away from Cyrus Jones, who couldn't field it, and it rolls dead at the 5. So 52-yard punt, and Bama backed up final minute of the third quarter. Been solid on special teams tonight. It's been a problem area all season long, but there's a nice punt.
Let's take a look again at the AT&T pylon cam. An outstanding punt and a good view of it from there. And it's great to see Teasdale have a chance to come back and redeem himself from Charlotte. Has done so much since then. But this is a game of field position. And Alabama here in this second half has been pinned back in their own territory. And down by 3, it puts a lot on Jake Coker and this Alabama offense. They're right at the heart of these Clemson fans backed up in this end zone.
Coker standing on the goal line. Henry. And a tackle made before he could really get up out of seam. The corner, Tankersley, stopped him.
Ben Boulware tonight and B.J. Goodson reading their keys and shooting a lot of times into the inside. And it's opened up some opportunities for Derrick Henry to get to the outside between the tackle and the tight end.
Henry again, tough sledding inside against the Tigers. It will be third down as the third quarter comes to an end. It's been rare in the championship game era to come from behind in the fourth quarter and win. And Clemson, as we mentioned, 51 straight when they lead entering the final quarter. But Alabama prides itself on being a fourth quarter team. Who's going to win this test of wills for the championship? You're watching the playoff national championship game presented by AT&T. Final quarter coming up. The college football playoff national championship game presented by AT&T. Clemson to reclaiming the lead, the third lead change of this championship game, and Saban and Lane Kiffin facing a decision here on third down. Do they give it to Derrick Henry, who's been pretty contained here in the second half, and Watson getting that right calf worked on by trainers. Coker in the pocket, delivers for Ridley, but it's off target, incomplete, and Bama will have to punt.
You can affect a quarterback when you don't even sack him. That time they affected him with Reeder and Bryant, and it forced him to throw the football and throw it a little bit beyond the outreaching arms there of Ridley. That was pressure that time from his left. Austin Bryant, the freshman, did a nice job of getting in there.
And again with Alexander out, that was Tankersley, who was giving actually Ridley a cushion there, but Coker couldn't find him. So Scott backed up in his end zone. Clemson could have excellent field position to try to pad this 3-point lead. Play clock down at 2. Scott gets away a decent punt and a fair catch made right at the 50-yard line. Nick Saban knows that a chance for a pitch and catch first down slipped away there, and now his defense, so stout all year, have to come up with a big stop. The Bama fans on their feet trying to inspire their defense to go up with a stop as the Tigers take over up 3 at midfield. Since Bama scored a touchdown to take the lead, Kirk, 3 empty possessions totaling 26 yards with 3 punts. They've had poor field position, but the Tigers defense has done a great job.
Manny Teasdale, the punter, pinning Alabama back, also a nice job. Now they've got great field position. See if they capitalize.
2-back look with Scott, the receiver, in there, getting the handoff. Gallman, the lead blocker, and that's a little wrinkle in a 10-yard gain.
It's helping them get to the edge. They pick up a nice block by the receiver Renfro on Minka Fitzpatrick, and now Gallman in there as a blocker, leading the way, doing a nice job. picking up huge yards there on 1st and 10.
Frustrating night for Gallman as a runner, but he always gives his all as a blocker, doesn't he?
Sure does.
Big reason why Watson's had so much success running the ball in the second half of the season.
2 backs again in that backfield. Motion 1 out.
Fumble. A poor exchange. It was Watson with a late attempted handoff to Gallman, and he has to jump on it with Petway right there.
Yeah, let's see the exchange here. It's not a read with his own read. It looked like the ball maybe got in a little bit high. Deshaun Watson trying to, instead of just falling on it, tries to pick it up as he's moving.
He had his head up there. He saw Petway charging. Risky move. But just a 2-yard loss. Watson, brief hesitation, takes off and cannot escape. Gets back to the original line of scrimmage, or just beyond it. It'll be 3rd down.
This is where you see some of the wear and tear of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd quarter play calling typically start to take effect for Clemson's offense, where all that wide running, all the tempo, all the things they do try to wear down guys like Reggie Ragland in the past. And most of this year, that's really paid dividends for them in the 4th quarter.
3rd and 10, not in Hugel's field goal range quite yet. Watson, downfield, jump ball incomplete. Well defended is Humphrey against Scott that time, and it's 4th down.
Well, Alabama sold out. They played man-to-man across the board. Good move by Scott, but great job of catching up there by the freshman Marlon Humphrey, and goes up and knocks that football away. Love to see corners find the football in college football. So often we see them with their back turned to the ball, to the quarterback, but Humphrey had a lot of confidence in getting in position and then turning back and knocking the ball away.
Sweeney's plea for pass interference not answered, and now from the 40-yard line, Teasdall just drops the point, tries to hit a sand wedge, a diving attempt to down it, but it's a touchback. So Bama's defense does make a stop, even though the Tigers took over in midfield. Bama's going to get it back. Down 3. Pylon cam showing you that look. Came very close to pinning them at the 1-yard line. Just slips away. Runs done a terrific job of limiting Henry in that 3rd quarter. Kirk didn't have a run longer than 5 yards. 7 for 21 yards. So many times in games, this is the quarter where he's begun to take over. They fake it to him there. Coker rolling out. Delivers a hard throw, and a catch made by Darius Stewart. Finally, he's on the board out to the 45. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, it's the first catch in the second half for any of the wide receivers. It's been a quiet second half, but a great play call by Lane Kiffin to get Jake Coker on the edge on 1st and 10, play action, and now they go tempo again.
You feed Henry. And you got to take a hat off to Lawson, Reeder, Watkins, Dodd, and the backups in that Clemson defensive front.
Yeah, they've done a great job up front. You know, you're seeing more tempo tonight from Alabama than you typically see. Lane Kiffin, and it worked actually in the last week with Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly visited Tuscaloosa. One of the things they talked about is what tempo can do to a Clemson defense, and you've seen a lot of evidence of that tempo tonight.
Of course, they see it a lot in practice, but some teams have hurt the Tigers with some tempo. Stewart, drop for a loss, off the edge. Tankersley. But again, the middle was clogged.
Tankersley comes in very, very fast right here, just attacks. By doing this, he beats Howard to the spot. And a lot of times you'll see Brent Venables blitz to stop the run. It's not just about getting after Jake Coker. They blitz on situations where they expect the run from Henry, and that time Tankersley takes Henry down. Remember, the right side has struggled. We'll see if Coker rolls away from Kevin Dodd, who's lined up down here.
He's been a nightmare tonight for that offensive line. They bring pressure up the middle. Coker leans back, looks downfield for Stewart. He's got it. Acrobatic, twisting catch by Stewart, who's suddenly come alive.
Jake Coker makes the throw of the night. Ben Boulware gets into his face. He throws it way before Stewart is even thinking of turning to look for the football. Throws it to a spot, and Stewart gets there.
And now Henry hammers forward. A 38-yard gain on 3rd and 11.
Unreal. One of the first times we've seen them convert on 3rd and long. But Jake Coker deserves all the credit for that throw. He had to get rid of the ball as Boulware came in. Just threw it up and as far as he could, hoping that Stewart would eventually get there, and he did.
Coker loops it for the end zone. Jump ball incomplete. Ridley well defended by Adrian Baker, one of the young guys who's got to step up.
That's the matchup here in the second half with Mackenzie Alexander down. Baker stride for stride. He also tries to be able to get his head turned around. Baker with long arms, 6 feet, 180 pounds.
Little fistful of jersey there. Is that enough to warrant a flag in your view?
I have to ask Dave Kataya, who's up here.
He's giving us the maybe.
And to me, he turned his head, and that's very, very important in a judgment of an official.
On 3rd down and 8, Coker fires over the middle, trying to get the ball again to Stewart, but there were a few Tigers in the area, including T.J. Green, and it's 4th down.
The other thing that's been tough on Coker is Michigan State played a ton of man-to-man. Florida plays a ton of man-to-man. It makes it easier for a quarterback to read. When you're a quarterback and you drop back and you see 7 or 8 orange jerseys dropping in different areas in zone, it makes it very hard for him to read, especially with the combination of that pass rush closing in on him.
Adam Griffith missed wide right from 44 earlier. This from 33 for the tie. And this one is good. So how about the 38-yard pass to set up the tying field goal, Kirk?
Yeah, and let's watch Jake Coker here as he gets rid of this football. Watch Ben Boulware right up the middle. Watch how early he has to throw this ball. Look at Stewart. Stewart is still running his route, and that ball just drops out of the sky right into his hands.
And Griffith knocks it through. The Tigers and the Tide are tied. 10:34 to play. We hope you're enjoying this as much as we are. The game tied for the 3rd time tonight. Tide driving 64 yards in 8 plays. The big 3rd and 11 conversion to Stewart, the key play. And now an onside kick. Griffith, and it's caught. And Alabama's got the ball back. Marlon Humphrey, the corner, and a perfectly executed little pooch kick.
Clemson's been tight with their alignment with their front line all night. It's something that I bet Alabama looked at upstairs. They talked about it.
Sweeney's going crazy about something over there.
See how tight they are right there? See the big space to the outside? Kearse trying to get out there. And Humphrey comes down with the ball. I don't know if it was offsides. I don't know what Dabo Sweeney's
tell me offside, and the kickoff's going to come into play in the Clemson game again.
The ball was legally caught and recovered by the kicking team beyond 10 yards beyond this kick spot. The advance is not allowed by rule. The ball is dead at the spot where first possessed by Alabama.
Well, he caught it 15 yards downfield. I don't think that was in question
We think
at all.
Terry lied for the lengthy explanation. What it means is it's Bama ball, but they can't advance it beyond where Humphrey got it.
Right around.
They were close to being offside, though.
But look how tight they are right here. See how tight? All that room to the top. They disguise it perfectly. That's about as good as a kick as you could hope for from Griffith.
They practice that a lot, don't they, Kirk?
Yeah, they sure do.
They really practice it a lot, and he executes it very well, the former soccer player from Poland.
He floats it right over the shoulder of Humphrey. In a game that's tied in the 4th quarter, you're waiting for a big play to maybe change the complexion. Alabama maybe just had that opportunity right here. We'll see if they capitalize.
It's been Sweeney with special teams trickery. The fake punt pass against the Sooners. Now it's Saban's turn. A lot of shifting from the Tide. Play clock at 5. All that to hand it to Henry, who again is hit in the backfield and cannot escape. Drop for a yard lost by Carlos Watkins.
Talk about how you stop the Heisman Trophy winner. You get penetration. make him have to start over with those long strides. It makes it tough on him. He doesn't have the lateral quickness that you see from a shorter back because of how long he is. Penetration's been a key all night for a Clemson defensive line that's for the most part been winning the battle at the line of scrimmage.
But Ben Bulwer, that little fire plug 240-pound linebacker, has made some huge clutch stops this season for Clemson. Again, getting in there. Drake spelling Henry now, and Coker looks downfield again. Wide open is Howard for his second long touchdown tonight, and the Tide reclaim the lead.
You've got confusion in coverage here from Alabama's going Howard right here. He's going to slide down. Green settles in, and nobody gets back with Howard. It's the second time we've seen the tight end get behind coverage. You don't know from sitting up here if it's TJ Green, the safety, or the corner that time, Tankersley. But another blown coverage on the back end, and Lane Kiffin finds another way to use O.J. Howard for a touchdown.
Who's got 2 tonight after not having any since 2013. The tight end has come up huge for the Tide. Coker has responded with a couple of big throws here in the second half, and Clemson, for the first time all season long, is now trailing in the fourth quarter. Can Deshaun Watson answer? In 49 seconds, and Griffith, this time the conventional kickoff. It's a deep one and will not be returned. 3 of their 4 touchdowns, Kirk, beyond 50 yards. Henry runs for 50, Howard 53, and 51-yard receptions. And here's another look at Griffith's work.
Yeah, ball goes up in the air. Humphrey's able to bring it down right there at the 50. And you have an offense that was in attack mode there, and a broken coverage again by Clemson, where O.J. Howard, who's had a quiet year as far as touchdowns are concerned, 2 tonight, both on blown coverage.
It's the All-State good hands play, the well-executed kick. And now Watson in a fourth quarter hole for the first time this season. Delivers a strike to Renfro, who makes a quick cut. Foster was trying to rip the ball out of his hands, but he holds on and gets to midfield.
Boy, he is such a crisp route runner, and the cornerback Deshaun Watson has such confidence because he knows exactly where he'll be. He doesn't hesitate at all when he throws to 13.
Pick up 24 yards, and now it's Gallman slashing free. Wayne Gallman finally getting a run. Waited all night for that. Had 11 yards total before that scamper into the red zone.
Remember, we talked about the wear and tear of some of the play calling early in the game, the wide runs, the tempo, the different things that gets Alabama, their eyes affected. Then you can go back to what's been your bread and butter all year, which is running into the inside with the quarterback Watson or Gallman.
Plays of 24 and now 34 yards. They've moved into the red zone. Watson still got it, and he is dragged down behind the line in the hands of Deshaun Hand.
Yeah, miscommunication there by Jordan Leggett. Wondered if he might be reading. Leggett will come over to try to pick up this block, and he's trying to actually get around him. It made me wonder if Deshaun Watson might have been reading it, but I think it was just a miscommunication that time by Jordan Leggett. Should have made that block.
Lost 3. Gallman moves to the slot. Watson pressured, delivers another strike, and Renfro, just so reliable, dives inside the 15. It'll be third down. They'll need 7.
Empty with Deshaun Watson by himself. He's got receivers spread all over the field. He's reading the numbers inside the box. They blitz Reggie Ragland. Made it very easy to throw to his man again, Renfro, on the catch.
Another enormous play in this fourth quarter. Watson has time. Loops a throw to the end zone. Ooh, close to being intercepted. Eddie Jackson, who had one earlier, was closer to the football than Leggett. Pressure came from John Allen.
Well, he gets hit as he throws this football. John Allen to come from his right there, and all that weight comes down on Deshaun Watson. Think about Deshaun Watson, everything he's done, 35 attempts, he's run the football 18 times. And then Allen hits him there in the fourth quarter.
So 2 quick plays to get in scoring position, but Hugel trots out from 31 to try to cut into the lead. 1 for 2 tonight. His first attempt was blocked. This one right down the middle. So a quick response from the Tigers inside of 2 minutes, but it's only 3, and Bama's lead is still 4. Deshaun Watson looked at again by the trainer. Any part of him that hasn't been examined, it's like guys in the boxing corner that the cut men have gone to work on these Clemson offensive players.
Especially Deshaun Watson, who is doing everything tonight, which we all predicted coming in. For Clemson to compete, for Clemson to win, Deshaun Watson was the key, and he's done everything up to this point to keep his team in the game.
Heather Cox reporting that when his face was driven into the ground by Allen that time, Deshaun got some grass in his eye. That's what they were working on over there. Well, his jersey is not clean, and you wouldn't expect it to be. The man has worked hard tonight doing everything for his offense. And that quick response does cut into the lead, but now the Tigers defense is going to have to stop Henry and company. Drake makes a cut, gets the corner. Look out, Kenyan Drake can fly. Eludes the kicker and will not be caught. Touchdown, Drake! 95 yards! A 10th non-offensive touchdown this season for this team.
And think of the injuries. Think of the career that Drake's had. A missed tackle there by Tankersley, and there's no way Curse can catch him. Or the kicker. The only guy that had a chance was T.J. Green at the end, 15. Drake sensed him and dove for the pylon to get it to the corner.
Another look. He extends his arms. Just the fuel tank about empty. He's getting near that pylon and reaches for it and gets it.
That's a touchdown. They're going to.
I think
they wanted to see the left foot, and it's in bounds. He definitely gets to the pylon. That's going to be a touchdown.
This pylon cam.
That's a great look. Boy, pylon cam's been getting a workout tonight.
Kenyan Drake, you're right. The serious leg injury that ended his season against Ole Miss. Covering a kickoff against A&M, breaks a bone in his arm. There's 2 screws in that arm. So frustrated to miss some of the stretch run, contributes a huge play.
Well, the injury last year looked like it might be the end of his career. He worked his tail off to get back. He's in bounds right there. You see grass, and then you'll see him hit that pylon, get into the end zone for the touchdown.
Kirk, we wondered when special teams might come into play.
The ruling on the field and touchdown is confirmed.
Bama's had good special teams all season. Clemson has not. That's the 3rd time they've had a kickoff return for a touchdown. And the lead is now 10 midway 4th quarter. Wow.
Chris, not only the injuries for Drake, but to try to get back, and the guy you're competing against to try to take out is what goes on to win the Heisman Trophy. So he's had to find ways to get involved in special teams like this, catching the ball out of the backfield. But he shows you how effective he can be, how dangerous he is.
Griffith makes an 11-point lead. The foot just a centimeter inside the field, and then the dive for the pylon. And the Tigers like to talk about bringing their own guts and being resilient. Will have to dig deeper than they have so far this season now.
It's like, go, Coker. Or Coker saying, go, Drake. Look at the reaction.
Derrick Henry said, yeah, my backfield mate doing something special on special teams.
Probably nobody happier on that Alabama roster than Derrick Henry for Kenyan Drake. Still have 7:31 to go in this game, and you have an offense that can move the ball down the field in a hurry to get themselves back within a 1-possession game.
Now, Kirk, you've made the comparison. Deshaun Watson, perhaps the special season that Vince Young created in the Rose Bowl 10 years and a week ago. Remember, Texas against the Trojans faced a very similar deficit. It was 38-26 inside of 7 minutes to go. Almost an identical deficit time situation. Can Deshaun come up with the kind of magic that Vince Young did for Mac Brown, is with us here tonight. He's been beaten up, hit a lot, he spent a lot of energy. Does he have enough left?
Well, the one thing you know about Deshaun Watson is he's going to keep his composure. This will not be an offense or a quarterback that will panic with 7:31 to go. And that to me is the first important aspect of trying to get yourself back and giving yourself a shot to win this game. They're going to do what they do, which is run their offense and look for matchups and try to get the ball down the field as fast as they can, but they will not panic.
Watson hit, ball comes out, it's no fumble. Ruled down before it came loose. Let's go to Heather Cox.
Chris Dabo-Sweeney's message to his quarterback was relax. It is just football, which ties directly in to what he told his star quarterback before the game, which was you don't have to be different than you are. You've been preparing for this since 9th grade. Everyone's saying you have to be Vince Young for Clemson to win. Well, you don't. You just have to be Deshaun Watson.
Watson from the pocket, flips it, completion. Gallman still going. There's no quit in anybody in an orange uniform. That's a first down.
No, that effort got him that first down. There were 3 Alabama defenders trying to tackle him about a yard or 2 short of the first down. He keeps those knees working, and he picks up the first down.
Inside of 7 minutes. Bama has scored 17 points in about 3 minutes to claim this lead. Watson chased and sacked. Pocket just closed in, and Rashaan Evans, a backup's having a big night.
Rashaan Evans on one side, Tim Williams on the other, and the push in the middle. There's nowhere for him to go. Look at the bottom. Evans with a good move. See how quick Tim Williams is? But look how he steps up, and he just has nowhere to go. So it's a group effort there by the Crimson Tide defensive front.
2nd and 13. Watson flushed again. Flips it short again. Gallman showing toughness. Still running. Determination. Gallman's in the loose. Cuts it back. Are you kidding me? Shoved out. No flag, but a huge play.
Deshaun Watson kept the play alive by improvising, finding his man Gallman eventually. And how about the work that Gallman's doing in the open field? I think Alabama almost quits on the play thinking that he's down, and he just keeps bouncing off the defenders. Huge play for the Tigers.
39 yards. Sets him up, and now Alabama will spend a timeout on defense to get their guys a rest.
First time out of the half.
They got a lot of hands on their hips there. This is a remarkable play here with everything on the line. Down 11. Look at the creativity. Keep the play alive. Dumps it down. And now this is, what can you say? Breaks one tackle, second tackle, cuts back, not giving up on the play. At this point, you're thinking he picks up a block. He may take it all the way to the house.
He is so tough, so determined. Said he's a linebacker in high school, and he may not be the quickest. He's quick, but I think so much of his year has to do with that kind of determination.
Good point about him playing linebacker in high school. He runs like a linebacker. I mean, he reminds
you. You mean that in a good way?
Yeah, oh, yeah. I mean, a linebacker mentality. He's running through that Alabama defense, bouncing off the tacklers.
Zach Brooks now in the game to spell Gallman. Watson delivers a low throw. McLeod makes a catch and moves into the red zone. Deshaun now has moved past 4,000 passing yards, so he's got a 4,000-yard passing season and a 1,000-yard rushing season.
They get down in this area. Remember, Renfro and Leggett, both at the top and the inside, start to become targets for Deshaun Watson. Both are in this area right here. Going to move Leggett over to the other side.
Tide defensive back still conversing Kirk on that right side. The pass batted and almost intercepted. Diving attempt by Ragland as Reed and Petway were closing in.
This defensive front, when they can't get in there, they knock it down. Remember, Petway's had a big night. He was involved in blocking the field goal attempt. He's been involved in knocking balls down. He's been involved in making plays and getting after the quarterback, Deshaun Watson. Doesn't get as much fanfare as Reed and Ashawn Robinson and Jonathan Allen, but having a big night tonight in the national title.
Tigers need 3 on 3rd down. It's Brooks in the flat. Makes the cut. And we'll have a 1st down at the 15.
Important to remember here, they have taken a little bit under 3 minutes on this drive. You're under 5 minutes. It's a 2-possession game. Clemson not only needs to score, but they need to be able to score and try to save themselves some time to try to get a stop and get the football back.
Watson, a dart, Scott scores! A touchdown drive that sums up the determination of this undefeated team.
Told you that this football team would not be flustered. They wouldn't panic. They're going to have to go for 2 here to get it to be a 3-point game. Give themselves a chance at a field goal if they can convert here. But outside leverage, an easy throw that time for Watson to his target, Scott.
It's been a quiet night for Artavis Scott. He's been waiting to make a big play. That was a huge one. They have not tried a 2-point conversion all season long, by the way. Watson is flushed, chased, and cannot get there. Lost the ball as he was shoved out of bounds. Big Jaron Reed was chasing him, and the lead is still 5.
Go back to this touchdown. Because of the tempo, because of the success, they had Alabama reeling. He knows exactly where he wants to go with the ball. Instead of the inside to Renfro, he works the outside to Scott. Cyrus Jones had a big cushion, gave him plenty of room. Did not disrupt the timing between the quarterback and the receiver, made it pretty easy.
There's some big bodies chasing the quarterback, including a Reed who got there. What an athlete for a guy that size, huh?
Yeah, 315 pounds.
The leader of this team, along with Robinson and John Allen, selling out, as everybody on both sides is doing right now.
Now you set up an interesting situation. Alabama with a 5-point lead. Clemson with 2 timeouts. How does Lane Kiffin decide to attack this Clemson defense? Is he conservative? Does he work clock? Does he put the ball into the hands of Jake Coker and try to make some plays on early downs throwing? Let's see how Lane Kiffin decides to attack. He told me today he's waited 10 years and a week at redemption in a national championship. You remember the stop on Lindale White against Texas.
Reggie Bush not in the game that play, was he?
He said he's waited 10 years and a week to have this opportunity to call plays again in a national championship.
They're crowding the line. Press anticipating Hugo to onside kick it, but he boots it away. And that'll roll dead in the end zone. Well, the Ford GT post-game show is coming up. 4:40 to play. This Clemson defense that's given up a lot of big plays, but has been otherwise pretty sturdy, has to get Watson the ball back.
Do they run the football with Watson, who's had a very quiet second half? 11 carries, 21 yards. See what Jake Coker can do here. I just want to see how Lane Kiffin decides to attack, whether it's conservative or aggressive. Clemson with 2 timeouts.
How much does he trust his protection and his quarterback in this situation?
About to find out.
Henry hit in the backfield and dropped by Kevin Dodd as the monster night continues for number 98.
Boy, he is doing this again. 98 on the right side. Watch him work again and able to get off of Dominique Jackson rather. Chris, that's his 5th tackle for a loss tonight. Just such quickness. Does a good job of using his hands. And Jackson has had a rough night at that right tackle spot up against Kevin Dodd.
I don't think any defender's been better in the postseason than Dodd. a monster Orange Bowl and an even bigger game tonight. So now a timeout taken by Coker. Play clock was winding down at 2nd and 13. What does Kiffin do here?
Can he call in a phoner and see if he can get some help? I mean, that is a very, very tough question right now, because on one hand you want to work clock. You want to do everything you can to try to work the clock down, force Clemson to use timeouts. And then on the other hand, you want to try to maybe find a pass that you feel really comfortable with Jay Coker, where you can do maybe some misdirection. We've seen some boots and nakeds where they roll them out away from a potential sack. So this is the biggest call tonight for Lane Kiffin.
You talked about Lane Kiffin. Many eyebrows are raised and comments made when Saban hired Kiffin, who had, of course, been fired at USC. We wonder, could these two work together? They have for a couple of years, but now he's waited 10 years, Kirk. This is a big moment for him and for his quarterback. They flip it to Howard, and the big man gets the edge and gets crumbled again. O.J. Howard tight roping and shoved out inside the 20. Pardon the pun, but Howard has been the rock tonight for Bama.
Mackenzie Alexander not being in this game. Baker misses the tackle right there. He gets out leveraged, doesn't get to the outside and force Howard back in where the rest of the Clemson defense would have had a chance. Does not make the tackle in the open field. That's the first time since Mackenzie Alexander has gone out of the game that Alabama's been able to take advantage of Adrian Baker, and it was at the most crucial moment in the game. We just talked about the play call for Lane Kiffin, and they take advantage of it.
Now they feed Henry, and this Clemson defense, after a deflating huge gains, got to dig really deep. Howard, meanwhile, has been targeted 5 times, caught 5 balls for 208 yards and 2 touchdowns.
For Alabama, they're thinking obviously touchdown to potentially put the game away. Clemson now at 3:20, 2 timeouts remaining. They're thinking about, you've got to force the field goal, keep it at a 1-possession game, and give Deshaun Watson a chance, down 8, with a chance to score a touchdown and get a 2-point conversion to get it to overtime.
Tide will work every bit of that play clock. Coker up under center. Henry makes a cut and muscles down near the 6. It'll be 3rd down.
The better runs in the second half for Derrick Henry. Gives him a very good chance. They've been pretty effective tonight on 3rd and short.
Clemson all year has been a very good 3rd and short defense. The stops they've made to put themselves in position to win a championship tonight. Need another one right here.
Think about all the work they put in here tonight. 4 quarters of leaving everything out there, and we come down to a 3rd and 3.
Confusion. They'll have to spend a timeout. Alabama. Howard was not where Coker wanted him to be, and he's hot.
Yeah, he's very fired up. What a difference in a quarterback and an attitude from where they were early in the year. You and I had him against Wisconsin in Arlington. We had him a couple weeks later when they played Ole Miss, and Jay Coker was benched. They thought maybe Cooper Bateman was the answer at that point at week 3. They ended up losing to Hugh Freeze and Ole Miss at home with 5 turnovers that night. They put the ball back into the hands of number 14, Jay Coker. And week after week after week, he became more and more confident. And by the end of the year, he's voted captain by his teammates after the SEC championship game. And you can see who's in charge of that offense. It's Jay Coker.
Very different systems that they run. Watson, of course, really shouldering the load, but Coker making some big throws. Just a desperation heave to Stewart, which was huge, led to a field goal. And then O.J. Howard, the big plays downfield. But now back to this 3rd and a short 3. Bootleg. Coker cuts it back. Dives. 1st and goal.
How fitting on a play with his season, the championship on the line, that Coker has to dive and scramble for a first down. That's how he won his job back. Nick Saban's talked about he won his team by how he competed. He won them over. And on a 3rd and short, he abandons the play, sees enough room, and uses his athletic ability and toughness to pick up the first down. He comes off of it right there. The guy that's been giving him fits all night, Kevin Dodd, he cuts back underneath him and then dives for the first down to keep this drive alive for the Crimson Tide.
Great point. It's been Dodd getting the better of Coker, hitting him hard all night on this key play. Got you, big fella. And you don't, interesting play call, because you don't feed the Heisman Trophy winner. All those orange jerseys were flowing that way, but he still had to beat a man to make the first down.
Give Clemson credit. They were in position. They took away his options, but that's where the athletic ability of the big fella at 6'5", 232 pounds comes into play. But they're not into the end zone yet. Clemson still has the 1 timeout.
Look who Bama's got in the game, Kirk. Again, the 2 big stud All-American defensive linemen, Jaron Reed and Deshaun Robinson, who paved the way for Henry's touchdown run in the first half, are back in there.
And they'll probably go behind the All-American Cam Robinson, along with the big 2 defensive linemen on the left side.
Henry dives again short. That might actually be good for Alabama, because they can use more clock. Clemson just with that 1 timeout remaining.
Dabo Swinney electing to let the clock continue to move, hold on to that last timeout.
They won't have to snap this play, Kirk, till a little bit more than a minute and a half in the game.
Yep.
Trot off the 2 big defensive linemen and bring Michael Niswander, Highway 46, the big 240-pound tight end in. Sneak. No signal. Coker stopped short, but again, the clock will continue to tick down. Officials are going to confer here.
It's tough to see where the football is before he goes down.
I don't think he got across.
And I don't think any of the officials felt real comfortable in making the call there. I don't know if anybody had a real good view. He just gets lost in a sea of humanity. Just can't see that football, so they end up calling him on about the 2-inch line.
So Dabo Swinney has to spend his final timeout just to stop the clock here at 1:22 and hope that his defense can somehow show some more guts and keep him in this game.
Think about Alabama. Their entire focus this year: finish, finish, finish. Anywhere you go in their football field, in their football facility, you see the word finish. Nick Saban talks about it all the time. And here they are trying to finish off this national championship.
Henry. No! Stuffed! Stopped by Clemson.
Remember, Clemson cannot stop the clock.
But a great effort by Dodd and those guys. Now they call it a touchdown. So a very delayed signal. And Alabama may have just finished business in the national title game.
On the field, runners both the play to go.
I'm trying to see where.
He's still spinning.
Did he reach across there?
Boulware's grabbing for the ball as Henry tries to extend it across. Just has to get the front of that white line.
I'm trying to see why they had a delayed call here.
He certainly was stopped there.
If you're going to make the call, it's right now if he reaches across.
Boulware was grabbing at the football. This may be our best look yet.
Yeah. You can see him reach across with the one hand. He's not near it at this point. Right there, he's it looks like he's in.
Yeah, there you go with the spin.
Like he's in. Yep.
That is the best look. Again, it's just the front of that white line. And there's the spin.
Oh, yeah.
And
he's in.
How about that, Kirk? This tussle back and forth. It comes down to a second and third effort. Henry's having his hair grabbed on the play. He's spinning and just reaching the ball inches across that goal line for perhaps a clinching touchdown.
After review, the ruling on the field of touchdown is confirmed.
So for Derrick Henry, his third touchdown on his 36th carry, the relentless workhorse of this Alabama running game with 158 yards. A 75-yard drive with, again, the big play to Howard, the key.
Can't say enough about Jay Coker, Chris. His story. High school football in Mobile, Alabama, goes to Florida State, backs up Jameis Winston, transfers to Alabama, sits behind Blake Sims a year ago, has to put it all together his senior year, gets benched, as I said, week 3 to Cooper Bateman, and instead of going in the tank emotionally, fights his way back. And another look here at the touchdown by Henry, clearly into the end zone. But Coker tonight, 16 of 25, 335 yards and 2 touchdowns, and that says it all for Dabo Swinney.
Just like you'd expect from the Tigers, did it all season. They gave everything they had. Strong resistance down there on the goal line, but number 2 just a little too strong to stop at the end. And Coker, it doesn't always look pretty with him. He had a shaky first half. Nick was upset with him for not being more decisive, but boy, he responded after halftime, and some terrific play calls, as you pointed out, by Kiffin.
Absolutely. They found their rhythm, and they were also at crucial moments in the game. I mean, potentially game swinging moments. Special teams also played a big part tonight in this game.
Right, Griffith, who had that crucial, perfectly executed little pooch kick, drops this one short, and it's brought across the 30-yard line there by Mylan Richard, a tight end. So now the deficit is 12, minute 2, no timeouts, and the Tigers need a miracle. Bama very susceptible to big pass plays this season. They've been burned a lot, giving up the second most 20-plus yard completions in the SEC, but you'd have to think that Kirby Smart and Nick Saban will drop way back here.
Yeah.
Smith helped off. 3 tied defenders lined up more than 15 yards beyond the line of scrimmage as Watson escapes, fires short to Peak, who's shoved out at the 38. Trying to become the first team in the modern era to get to 15-0. And boy, they had the lead in that streak that Dabo Swinney was so proud of. 51 straight victories when leading after 3. Outscored 24-9 in the fourth quarter. Watson fires over the middle, and the catch is made inside the 35-yard line. It's Peak again.
And Deshaun Watson, don't tell him the game's over. He's not going to stop. He's not going to stop competing. Big throw there to Peak, deep now in Alabama territory. They're trying to get points on the board.
Watson just dumped it off the back of Brooks, who wasn't looking, just before he got hit by big Jonathan Allen.
This Clemson football team, Chris, as you said, you talked about that fourth quarter, but they do not have to apologize to anybody for what they did tonight. This was a great effort by this football team, and they're still fighting with 37 seconds to go.
Peak has come alive late, does the smart thing and stretches the ball out of bounds to stop the clock with 31 seconds to go.
Yeah, great effort there to get the ball out of bounds. And even though Deshaun Watson's still in a hurry.
The clock will start on my signal.
So they called him down inbounds here.
I guess they said the knee was down before he reached the ball out. So the clock does start. Watson eating up time and has to throw it away, but that was costly, down to 17 seconds. the touchdown, an onside kick, and then a Hail Mary.
Yeah, Alabama's taking everything away downfield. They're willing to give Deshaun Watson some yards, but nothing downfield. And Derrick Henry, it looks like O.J. Howard with the.
You're getting the bucket ready for Nick Saban, but he's no mood yet. Not with 17 seconds to go. Watson for the end zone. Caught for a touchdown by Peak with 12 seconds. You like it? With 12 seconds to go. Wow.
An absolute laser from Watson. Right over the shoulder of the defender, the defensive back, Harrison, puts the ball exactly where he had to put it. And he keeps Clemson's hope alive here. 12 seconds.
Leggett, a physical receiver, tough matchup, and they are fighting right to the end. Trying to get Mr. Wilkins into the game. They had 10 men on for the PAT. This to cut it to 5. And then Hugo will be called on perhaps for an onside kick here, unless they employ some two-kicker trickery.
This is a heck of a throw by Watson. Ball that he has thrown throughout his career well. Between two safeties, you've got to put it on a line because the safeties can collapse on top of your target, Leggett. With those safeties out wide, the middle of the field is open, but because of their speed in closing, you've got to be able to throw it right, as I said, right with the same kind of velocity he showed right there for the touchdown.
So an onside kick was a big part of the ACC championship game. Clemson had to hold on against North Carolina. Now it's the Tigers' turn to try to execute this. They tried one all year.
By the way, how about 6 plays and 68 yards in 55 seconds?
Against a Bama defense determined not to give up the big play.
Right.
That's why Nick says, don't get that Gatorade bath anywhere near me.
Maybe that's why he coaches to the last second.
No, they work it on in every practice, both teams. The onside kick and the hands team for Bama. Get Derrick Henry out there. A lot of the skill players. Hugel. With more guys to the right. Kicks it that way. Ball takes a kangaroo hop, and it'll go out of bounds, and Alabama will have it one kneel down away from a national title. He got what he wanted, the big hop, but it was a little too high at the end.
Yeah, it just came a little bit late. And just the bounce of the ball. You just never know. UC Stewart goes up, he's out of bounds. But Alabama now starts to celebrate.
And Jake Coker, who said he's been living a dream, will step out for victory formation, kneel down, and will be a national champion quarterback after waiting his whole life to show what he can do as a starter.
Again, been through so much. His looks just so different tonight as a leader of this team. How about Nick Saban, Chris?
Finally, oh
yeah,
boy,
I got him.
Some Crimson Gatorade. They did a good job.
4th championship in Tuscaloosa, 5th if you include the championship at LSU. Put him up there with the all-time greats.
Alabama back on top of the college football world. Another building block in this dynasty. In the desert tonight. A very famous hero. A man who's waited a long time to seize center stage, O.J. Howard. Reggie Ragland in that defense had to work hard to stop the brilliance of Deshaun Watson. Two buddies who became friends in New York at the Heisman ceremony. Watson and Henry. Everybody gave everything tonight. 45-40, Alabama wins. To Tom Rinaldi.
Chris, thank you very much. Coach, all season long, even before the spring session started, you had one mission and one word: finish. How will you describe what it took to finish tonight?
It was a tough game. You got to give Clemson players a lot of credit. They've really got a good team. This is a great challenge for us. I am so proud of our players, though, the way they competed, especially in the second half. We didn't seem to have the juice like we had against Michigan State, but they fought and battled, and obviously we didn't play great on defense in the end, but you know, the onside kick was huge. It was a great kick by Griff. I think that changed the momentum of the game, and our guys finished it.
You talked about the kick by Griff. You often say sometimes it's a play, one play that makes the difference. What inspired the call at that time?
Well, you know, we weren't playing very well on defense. It was a tie game. I thought we needed to do something that was going to change the momentum of the game, and that certainly did. But then the kickoff return was big, too, so special teams really did it for us.
You got number 2 behind you, but you also got O.J. Howard right here, who hadn't scored a touchdown since 2013. What did you see in the game plan that uncorked that performance?
Well, you know, we've been trying to get the ball to him more and more and more, and he certainly made some big plays tonight, and he's a great player for us and a weapon for us on offense.
How do you describe what this group achieved?
Well, you know, I've always said this is my, I hate to say favorite team, but because I love them all. But these guys have come so far and done so much. You know, their will, their spirit, you know, to compete and do things they needed to do to be the kind of team they could be. I'm so happy for the team. This is all about winning the game for them. You know, it's great for our fans. It's great for the state of Alabama. But I wanted to win this game for these guys, man. They've done a great job for us this year.
Finally, after the semifinal, we asked, could we get a smile? How about now?
You got it, baby. You got it.
Chris?
He's told us several times how much he loves this football team, this group of leaders, and it is a 5th national title for Saban, a 4th at Alabama in the last 7 years. That's what Frank Leahy did, wartime football at Notre Dame, and now just one short of Paul Bryant. The man is at the peak of his powers at age 64. Back down to Heather Cox, Kurt.
Chris, thanks so much. Jake Coker, congratulations. You grew up dreaming of being a quarterback for Alabama. How surreal is it to now not only be the starting quarterback, but to be the national championship winning quarterback for Bama?
I mean, that's hard to explain. There's nothing else I'd ever, you know, there's something I've dreamed of since I was little, and just the fact we've been able to, this team's overcome all the stuff we've overcome, and just get here and do it. It's awesome, man. I can't say enough about it.
Before the game, Coach said that you deserve to be here, but you're entitled to nothing. How did that motivate you guys throughout this game?
I think we just learned a lot from last year and how we came in and we weren't as prepared for a team like Ohio State, and we came in here, we knew Clemson was going to be, as they showed tonight, one hell of a competitor, and we came in prepared and got the job done.
It was an emotional night for you as well as your brother Patrick, who was watching you play overseas. Any message for your brother and what kind of courage and fight he's shown you in his battles?
I love you, Pat. I love you more than you can imagine. You inspired me this whole way, and I just can't wait to see you.
Jake, your coach just won his 5th national championship. Where does he stand in your mind in terms of one of the all-time best?
I mean, I can only say, talk about people I've been around, and he's the best I've ever seen. So, and he's proven that time and time again. And I just want to thank him for the opportunity he's given me. And I think as long as he's at Alabama, Alabama's going to be, up at the top. He's a special coach, special person, and does everything the right way. And I couldn't say enough about the things he's done for me and this team as a whole. It's really special the type of person he is, the type of coach he is.
Jake, I know you've been dying to go celebrate with your teammates. I will let you do it now. Congratulations, and let's head over to Tom.
Thank you.
Heather, thank you very much. They came in as early enrollees together. They're roommates together and now national champions together. Derrick Henry and O.J. Howard. Derrick, let me begin with you. You broke that big run. When you did that, I'd never seen you more emotional with you. But what was the message you were sending to this team tonight?
I just told them that we worked so hard to get here. All we got to do is finish. And we've been through a lot of adversity, a lot of ups and downs, and we got to finish at the team. And I love them. Let's go ahead and get a win.
O.J., the last time you scored a touchdown was 2013. You were not featured very often in this offense. You were patient. What allowed this performance to happen tonight?
You said the key word, being patient. I knew I had a chance to make plays tonight with the plays we called during practice, and that's what happened tonight.
Number 28 decal was on the back of the helmets for this team in honor of Alty Tenpenny, your former teammate who passed away. The last person you mentioned in the Heisman speech, Derrick, I know what he means to you. How was he with you tonight?
He was with us every step of the way. You know, I talked to him for the game and told him to watch over us and be with us, and I'm sure he was. And that's how we got the victory. But, you know what I'm saying, we've been having him on our heart this whole season since we found out, and, you know, we love him.
Finally, we see a certain version of Coach Saban all the time, OJ. What's the version of Coach Saban that we're going to see here having won a national title, you think, in that locker room?
Man, he's going to be excited for us. He's going to be dancing. We're going to have a good time for the rest of the night, man.
Congratulations, national champions.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Tom, thank you. So, Derrick Henry able to do what Mark Ingram did 6 years ago, win a Heisman Trophy, and follow up with a championship. It's been something very rare for a Heisman running back to do that. Tony Dorsett was able to do it. We've seen some quarterbacks do it. But Henry, once again, in the postseason, sharing the credit with teammates. And you do feel good for Derek Howard. Had one of the best games a tight end could ever hope for. Set an Alabama record for receiving yards. So many contributors. Kenyan Drake, we talked about his hard road to get here with the kickoff return that really helped seal the deal.
Well, just a game that you hope for. I mean, you get to the championship game, you hope that both teams play their best. Can't say enough about Clemson and the effort that they put forth tonight. Shaq Lawson playing with everything that he had to just be on the field. What more can be said about Deshaun Watson and his performance? But tonight's about the Crimson Tide. They made the plays when they had to. Their coach was willing to take a risk. Kind of out of character for him. Usually you would think Dabo Swinney with the onside kick changed the complexion of the game. And Jake Coker, I mean, when you go back and look at the 2015 National Championship year, you're going to look at a quarterback early in the year that was just trying to avoid mistakes, to a quarterback by about the middle of the year and especially at the end that was in command. And he and Lane Kiffin deserve all the credit in the world for that. Just so happy for him, the emotion that he has in him of being an Alabama Crimson Tide quarterback who's been able to go out and win a national title.
So many moments in this game which produced 85 points, the Capital One pivotal performance. Saban saying that he wasn't trusting his defense at that moment, needed a spark, so the onside kick, and then Howard gets free and a coverage bust, and then Kenyan Drake, the kickoff return all the way back, tight up and down the sidelines, diving and just reaching the pylon. But still, that wasn't enough to put away the Tigers. It took recovering an onside kick to do it. Now the Ford GT post-game show is coming up. Much more to talk about as the Crimson Tide claim a fourth national championship in the last 7 years. Go back right after this. But first, we have the hardware to hand out, and for that, down to John Saunders.
All right, Chris Fowler, thank you very much. And it's time to hand out the championship trophy. We first should say congratulations to the Clemson Tigers on a tremendous season and a very hard-fought game. But time to do it once again, Bill. Joining me is Bill Hancock, the executive director of the College Football Playoff, to hand out the championship trophy.
John, is college football awesome or what? On behalf of the conferences and schools that manage the College Football Playoff, I do want to congratulate both of these teams for a great effort tonight and all during this most compelling regular season. And now it's my pleasure and honor to present the National Championship Trophy to Coach Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Nick, congratulations on your fifth. We'll talk about that in a moment. But first, what do you have to say to the faithful of the Crimson Tide who've waited for this again?
Well, you know, this is all about this team and the players on this team. There weren't very many people early in the season that thought this team could do it. And this team made a tremendous commitment to one another and did it together. And I've never been prouder of a group of young guys than I am. And that's why I'm so happy for these players.
It's interesting because after the loss to Ole Miss, and you guys turned the ball over a bunch in that game, and you might have won that one, but after the loss, what did you have to say to the group to get them to make a charge like this?
How do you respond to a loss? You know, you got to have character to overcome adversity, and everybody's going to have to buy in and do things exactly like we need to do them to be a better team, and every one of these guys did it, and that's why we're here now.
It took a little something extra. I was standing on the sidelines with Urban Meyer, and he talked about what is your commitment to win. What's the commitment of this group of guys?
Well, they have tremendous passion for each other, for the game, and we've got a lot of great competitors on this team, and the leadership on this team has been fabulous. So I've never been prouder of a bunch of guys. I mean, they've just overcome so much to get here. We didn't play our best game tonight, but they did what they had to do to win, and I'm smiling.
What does it say about a team that's as dominant as you guys are on defense, that has an offense with a running back like Derrick Henry that can explode like that, and special teams may have been the difference?
I think special teams may have been the difference in this game. The onside kick and the kickoff return for a touchdown sort of changed the momentum of the game, and but we made some big explosive plays on offense. We got them stopped a few times when we needed to on defense, so it's a great team win, and I'm proud of all of them.
I had a chance to chat with your better half, Terry, when she took the podium here, and she said, boy, it's more fun like this in a close game. Do you feel the same way as you walk off with your 5th championship?
No, I think I aged a little bit tonight, but what I want to say to all of our fans and all of our players, which I said at our banquet this year, is I thank them for all that they've done to make this team what they could be. But I say there's an IOU that goes with everything. Thank you. And I owe them so much for their great effort in terms of what they did. And we owe them our best. We try to give them our best as coaches, and they've responded like champions that they are. So we're excited for them.
As I ask you one final question, and that would be, as I mentioned, 5 championships for Alabama, and try to pick one that is better. Is it all about what the team has given you when you try to decide what separates this from the other 4?
Well, look, this is all about these players on this team, and none of those other championships really were anything that I ever thought about other than what can we do to help this team be successful. And I'm so pleased and proud of it. I haven't even thought about the rest of it. So I'm just happy for this bunch of guys to do what they did tonight against Clemson.
Nick, congratulations again.
Thank you, Brian.
Congratulations to the entire team. Congratulations to the Alabama Crimson Tide. I guess the Bears up next, Chris.
Saban one short of Brian's total. You're right, John. But Saban wants to focus on this team. And any team that raises the trophy, Kirk, has to pass tests, clear hurdles along the way. And for this group of guys that really self-destructed at home back in September, regrouped after the loss to Ole Miss, it's been must-win mode every week since then. And they played excellent football in the postseason. The kicker born in Poland, the beautifully executed little pooch kick, the shot play that put them in position, and then O.J. Howard, the patient senior, responding with a night he'll never forget.
Yeah, he had opportunities to make big plays. It was a group effort, as Nick Saban said. Offense, defense, special teams right here. Maybe the biggest play of the game. Kenyan Drake's able to get to the edge, and once he does, he's got the speed to outrun everybody to get it into the end zone. Tight ropes to sideline and into the end zone for the touchdown.
Henry ran for 158 yards, but it really was the final few inches of his evening that proved the difference. This was a touchdown Bama needed because Clemson wouldn't quit, just reaching and busting the plane by several inches. And Saban doused for the 5th time as a national champion, the 4th here at Alabama. Nothing but respect. Jay Coker just collapsing, emotional.
I think it all hit him right there, Chris.
Sure did. But respect between the 2 offensive stars in this game tonight, who ran 1st and 3rd in the Heisman voting. Deshaun Watson did everything he possibly could. Clemson comes up 5 points short. Title number 5 for Saban. Much more coming up from Glendale.